What up? What up, Cassie? It's time. Buried Stars again. Lives. Once again, game starts off a little loud. Resume. So let's give a little update. How late is it? It's 11:30 in the morning. It's not late at all. Not late in the slightest. You know what? I'm actually going to turn down the music. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's go over last we played Buried Stars. So last we played Buried Stars, well, of course, we're still buried alive, and Hyusung has been found dead. The 5th place contestant on our good old ranks. He is deceased. We're in 4th place, so we are the next one in line to die. But we are slowly getting on Ina, while Ju-young and Yu-huk are very far ahead, for being honest here. Currently, we are working with a unknown entity by the name of Plughole. And Plughole is essentially trying to deal with S. Sung-yeon, who is a fader, which is this game's version of Twitter, account user who is essentially the one that is killing people. Not really the greatest, and they are also masquerading as the dead producer who has already died. This person. They've been dead. So we found our second victim, Hyusung. We figured out kind of the cause of death. We caused everyone to not really go crazy as a result. And now we're kind of figuring out if S. Sung-yeon, essentially the culprit here, is actually among us right now. Now, we already had a few theories as to what's going on recently regarding who it might be, as well as to what's going on. But we'll worry about that later. For now, we need to check Fader. And I want to just double check. It's not the right button. I want a quick save, because I'm going to essentially quick saving every time. So we're in a identifying method right now, which is number 12. I want to do identifying method for number 2, and then if we get good stuff, we should talk to Julia. No, we are going to go to Fader. So let's go look through. Looking at this album post, doesn't she look like my friend? You can easily answer my question to see if you have any eyes. If you have eyes to see. I don't know who that person is. Oh, it's Ina. Your book photo. Someone posted her photo on Fader, claiming that Ina resembled one of her high school friends. Their style was different, but their faces and voices were very similar. I love how this person's Fader is a waste of life, even though they're on Fader. No one knew he was from a rich family. There's Yu-huk. Yu-huk's university friend testified that Yu-huk took years off from school soon after receiving the scholarship. He said he knew nothing about Yu-huk's family matters. Used a bait mention to identify S. Sung-yeon's IP, which is that means somewhere in Africa. Something that smells of fish. Foreign IP. Some Fader users checked S. Sung-yeon's IP. It turned out to be a foreign IP. Somewhere in Africa. Crazy. This is the metadata. Here we go. S. Sung-yeon is spreading false information. Everyone please report at the side of it. We need a greater number of reports to attract a response. Process delayed. Some Fader users reported that the S. Sung-yeon account to Fader support, but so far nothing has happened. That is everything. So I want to also let you guys know once again that I am kind of using a guide. And when I say kind of, I'm just purely using a guide just to kind of double check where I'm at. So I'm not using it to post any responses or anything, or to like choose specific responses. I'm still choosing whatever I'm going to choose. But if there is something I need to make sure that I got, then I'm going to make sure. So we're going to start off with the grudge. Somebody might hold a grudge. Yeah, who might that be? Maybe it's all the more so for Hyusung, Sungyeon, and me. Why is that? Because Sungyeon apparently impersonated her to mention our names in their murder threats. Jiyoung seems to be chewing over what she had just heard. Jiyoung shortly raised her head and opened her mouth. Well, I don't see it that way. And at the end of the day, they attacked everyone. And things about me and Gyuhuk were unknown to the public. Yeah, your barista story and his scholarship story were certainly unknown to many people. Sungyeon was the head of the show, while Hyusung and you were in the lowest ranks. I think you three were mentioned for that reason. Do you think they're holding a grudge against all of the top 5? If it gets that far, I really have nothing to say. I can't think of anyone. Maybe they tricked us into wasting our time seeking explanation. That's fair. However, I just realized I made a mistake. So we do this. And then we will quick load the second file. And then I have to go back through Fader. I also totally forgot to call people. That's something I need to do. So let me do this. Grab the photos. Because I should save it. Because we want to keep everyone's rapport high, so I don't want to lower it for any reason unless it's absolutely necessary. Things should be good. We'll do a quick save on number 2. And then let's give somebody a call. Hyusung's dead. Ina, Seal, Gyuhuk. So let's talk to Ina, and then we'll save, go back, and so on and so forth. Hi, Ina. I think Jiyoung is gonna be the one that we focus on though. What's up? Just checking out Fader. Sungyeon constantly exposes something big every time they're cornered. They're trying too hard to convince people that they're here with us, which makes me believe they aren't. Are you saying we didn't have to respond to all their comments? I wouldn't have. But if Sungyeon turns out to be just a scammer, maybe that's worse. Why is that? Don't even ask if you have no idea. I don't even want to say it out loud. Okay. Your rapport slightly got better. Are we sure about that? I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking. That is for sure. So much talking. Gotta do another phone call, and this time it's gonna be to you. Because we have to unlock all the phone call conversations. But I'm befriending Jiyoung, because Jiyoung is our friend. Well, everyone's. Ina, maybe not. Same as Seal. Jiyoung. Yeah? I feel suffocated after reading Fader posts. Can you talk to me directly if you have something to say? Alright, are you doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just felt a bit anxious. Okay, well, I mean, it makes sense why you're anxious. You guys are currently buried alive, and there's a potential killer running amok. And that's not really the greatest if there's, you know, a killer running amok. Because if a killer's running amok, that means someone's gonna die. Probably not a good idea. Alright, let's talk to Jiyoung. Unlock that phone conversation. How are you doing? Just checking Fader. Regarding Sungyeon, did they really do something, or was it just a coincidence? If it was just a coincidence, they must have been very baffled. But they weren't. We can't tell just by reading their posts. You're right, we never know what they do behind the screen. Who do you think Sungyeon is? That's everyone's question, except for Sungyeon themselves. That is true. That is true. We don't know. We don't know. Anyway, yeah, so the reason we have to keep doing each one is so that way we get kind of the hints is what they need to do. So in case we have to go back to the game real fast. Anyway, password. The password policy was unbelievably loose. How many people might know the password? I can't even count. Jiyoung was good at handling electronic devices. She strongly opposed the password policy when it was delivered. So for those who don't know, the password, they have smartwatches, or kind of like Apple Watches on, and all of their passwords are the exact same. I kept telling them there would be a security issue. But I never thought the Cloud would be so vulnerable. I had no idea because Hyusung's watch was the only one with the service. Ji-young mumbled something while looking at the watch. I kept telling them that we should all be given a different password. Ji-young kept bringing up the security issue. I think the staff was a bit lazy in the matter. They were too complacent in their work. If retrieving the watches was so important, they could have factory reset it later. Let's go, rapport. I'm surprised to hear you say the word factory reset. I thought you were digital illiterate. I mean, analog. You just spoke your mind. Nope, listen, I wanted to talk to you about something else. The watches were given during the first round of the finals. All the contestants at the time also learned about the password policy and accounts. Dune got Ji-young's point. The top 10, they all know. I'm not sure if they were aware of the other contestants' accounts, but one thing is for sure, the top 10 clearly knew about the password policy. But 10 people isn't a very small pool of suspects. Assumption top 10. Sponsored smartwatches were given to the top 10 finalists. Each watch had an individual account and a common password. They all share the same one. Rapport event, let's go! Do-yoon, determined. With her hand on the side of her head, Ji-young asked Do-yoon, what place did you aim to finish when you joined the show? Interesting question. I didn't think much about the ranking. I didn't even think I would make it to the live stage. On top of that, you came up alone. That was completely unexpected, not even in my dream. What about you? Which place did you aim for? First place, of course. I always set my goal high since I was a trainee. Fair. How do you manage to do that? You just have to aim one level higher than your realistic goal. Then make it a priority to advance one step at a time toward the goal. One step at a time. There was even a team slogan during my beloved years. Ji-young fell silent and stared at Do-yoon for a moment. One step at a time toward our goal. Damn, she's sweating. Ji-young mumbled to herself. You all walked toward the same goal. And yet you left them behind. My dream was my first priority, and it still is. But now that I wanted to start over, nobody accepted me. This audition was the only way to restart my career. Weren't you scared of standing before the audience again? I had my tail down. I wondered if I could withstand another round of public criticism. You've encountered a similar situation. Ji-young slowly raised her head. I found myself somewhat reacting differently. I've grown stronger than before, an unyielding spirit to any obstacles. In the flood of criticism, my spirit began to take a more definite form. A more definite form was like a spear or a shield. Interesting question, Do-yoon. Ji-young took a step back, running her hand through her hair. More like a shield, at least until the collapse of the stage. And now, I began to look back at my past, which I shouldn't have ignored. Maybe because of that, I'm beginning to see my spirit more like a spear. Determined. Achieving her dream was always her top priority. Hiding and having difficulties didn't change anything. She was determined. Once more, Ji-young was determined to return to the industry. Breaking through all criticism and blame, she challenged herself via the audition and proved herself. Definitely did. He's a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. Absolute force to be reckoned with. You don't fuck with Ji-young. Info. Right, some of them must have come from a close person or an insider. Where did the info come from? Do you think we should consider the staff? Yes, maybe. To think it was a close person, things just don't add up. All of our stories came out from S. Sung-yeon, and that's only one person. Ji-yoon nodded at Ji-young's remark. After pondering for a moment, Ji-young raised her head. If we're to focus on Beastar staff, maybe we should ask Seal for his opinion. Aw shit, eyes on Seal. Who, let's be real, I've always had my suspicions on. It seemed very obvious, but it seemed very real. Yearbook photo was posted on my timeline as well. Her name is different. She could have changed her name. Ah shit. It has nothing to do with resolving our matter at hand. What's important right now is Sung-yeon and Hyusung's attacker, and that's an effort to shake off our anxiety. Right, I shouldn't have focused on it. Ji-young put her hands together on her chest. It's not a good time to validate and confirm even this. I mean, we're focusing on Fader because it's important. But we need to get our priorities straight. We need to get our priorities straight. Hey, does this girl look familiar to you? What are you talking about? I just want to know if the girl looks familiar. That's all. That's not important right now. But I just want to know. Do you think she's pretty? Lunum test. Maybe they didn't know because they had no interest. Nobody knows about other people's family matters unless they were told. Anyway, many of the posts were written just for the heck of it. Yeah, who would want to miss a chance to throw a comment at a time like this? Okay. You sound experienced. I thought you didn't know much about Fader. I'm learning my life lessons from this accident. Well, I guess it's not just about Fader. Jiren dangled her arms from her waist. Gyuhuk is keeping quiet about it, so we shouldn't say anything more about it. Let's just focus on what we're trying to figure out for now. Too bad, we're asking Gyuhuk, about Sangyeon. Yeah, I know, but at the same time, we're gonna ask all the questions, because I'm interested. Or an IP. You look angry. It's rather common. Hiding your IP to avoid detection. For example, you could use a VPN to disguise your IP as if it's from a foreign country. Which means they had it all planned out. Right, and there's another thing. Jiren stopped for a minute and stared at Duyun. What can we learn from the fact that they disguised their IP? What could be figured out by S. Sangyeon? Well, obviously it's going to be... to avoid identity exposure? They probably didn't want to expose identity. They just want to drag this on even if they get caught one day. Oh shit, that's wrong. That's pretty obvious. That's the purpose of disguising their IP to begin with. I'm talking about something else. Look at what S. Sangyeon did. They created an anonymous account and hid their IP before appearing. I don't think this was S. Sangyeon's first time. This one knows what they are doing. There are lots of trolls, but only a few would go through the trouble of obscuring their IP. They set up the whole thing using their past knowledge and experience. I don't think they came in as prepared. They have been acting quite impulsively, but never forgot to hide their tail. For S. Sangyeon, this wasn't the first time, I'm sure of it. IP bypass. S. Sangyeon used a VPN to mask their IP. Tech-savvy users commonly use this kind of tactic and prevent IP tracking. The fact that you know this is kind of cause for concern, because even though Seal is the one we know has a hidden laptop inside the bag, because we see that in the first ending of the game, we do gotta point out the fact that you know way too much about technology. This was not their first time. They're experienced and know how to hide. I agree. They created an anonymous account and hid their IP before appearing. And yay. It's the same thing, pretty much. Yeah, the fact that you know about so much stuff is worrying, Ju-young. Could be you. Processed it. Someone must have reported a Sangyeon from outside. But they haven't done anything in response yet. They've been acting up for hours already. They're taking way too long. I saw some complaints about their tardiness, but now that I'm in this, it's really serious. It would take a load off my mind if don't have to see their posts. You're missing a letter there. Yeah, I just hope everything will be taken care of, and that we later find out that S. Sangyeon was behind all this. Jiren quietly dropped her head. But considering the fact that they haven't taken any measures yet, we can't just sit around and wait. We're not mentally fit for that either right now. I agree, and that's why we're having a discussion now. Yep, that is true. Discussions are good. Discussions are great. Assumption of the top 10. I was excited when I first received the watch. Happy faces. You like these kinds of electronic devices. I also happened to read a news article that said the watch was still in development, but they restricted many functions, so it wasn't easy to fully utilize it. If they had lifted the restrictions, we would have been able to use them better. This one is much better than the first one they distributed during the first round of the finals. That watch was OMG. Oh, that one sucked. We were only allowed to wear them on the show. They said they would tweak our watches, but now we know it was all about restricting some functions. The watch was useless during the first stage of the finals. No, I'm not. She's tech savvy. She would want all the restrictions. If they were going to take it back, why did they give it to us in the first round? Hi, Blasi. How are you doing? I think the deal was that we start wearing them at the start of the finals. Maybe they regretted giving it to us. Fortunately, they let us see it personally during the second round. The top 7 left after 3 got eliminated from the first round, which means that 3 only got to wear them and turn them in soon after. Jing tapped the watch with her fingernail. I didn't know I'd be relying on a watch like this. Regardless of its quality, it's the only thing that connects us with the outside world. Contestant watch. The top 7 received the smartwatch as they made it into the finals and were allowed to use them personally since the second stage of the finals. Relevant information such as password policy were delivered around that time. So really the top 7 more so knows it. Are we good? Let's see. Yeah, we're good there. Apparently the other side would have been doing okay. Still look adjusted, but I'm doing all right. Grudge. You, Ju-young, Ina, Hyu-sung, and I. Our ages and hometowns are different. Our life backgrounds are also very different. Nevertheless, we have one thing in common. You all appeared on Beastars? Beastars finalists. He nodded. Was there someone from Beastars who might hold a grudge against you? No one comes to mind immediately. But everyone earns a grudge at least once in their lifetime for you. Everyone makes mistakes. It's easy to forget what you've done wrong unless you are a victim. But some people treat you badly for no apparent reason. Hyuk fell silent for a moment. He seemed to have recalled something at Do-yoon's remark. Yes, maybe Sung-yeon's intention is to make us suffer by making us look into our past and wonder what we've done wrong. That's fair, I guess. Make amends! Password! They knew the accountant password. Do you think they're one of the production staff? That's true. Are you talking about Beastar staff? We received smartwatches after making it to the finals. The password policy remained the same ever since. It was determined by the sponsor and passed on to us by Beastars. We had to use the pre-configured accountant password. Hyuk stroked his chin with his long fingers. If they're a staff member, they should know about this. Do you think it's fair to doubt the staff? We're just trying to narrow down the pool of suspects for now. Well, okay, if it's going to help us. I'll tell you again if I think of something else. We'll get a clearer picture as we narrow down the suspect pool. Assumption staff. After advancing to the finals, the contestants received these smartwatches of which accounts and passwords had already been set up. But the Beastar staff must know about the watches' accounts and their passwords. Seal. Oh shit, rapport event? Poverty. Okay, cool, we're good. Yes, we did get poverty. The scholarship that Sung-yeon mentioned. You still chewing over it? Hyuk groaned. I'll tell you what happened. There was a brief silence. My father, Byung-hee Lee, always put emphasis on standing alone in everything. Because he himself had stood alone and was very successful. He wasn't just saying it. I was totally on my own when I was growing up. Really? No financial support at all, like school tuition? Hyuk put on a sad smile. What he had achieved was strictly for himself. His family was no exception to that. I had to do whatever to make money. Somehow I managed to make it through high school. During my university years, it began to take a toll on me. I think I had worked several part-time jobs. Couldn't earn enough for the tuition, couldn't even focus on school. Once, after I had gotten horribly sick, I decided to ask for him for help. It was his concert night. He looked quite contented. Kind of beat around the bush for a while. It was hard to find the right moment to bring up that topic. I finally managed to bring up the topic of money. What did he say? Hyuk slowly opened her. It's not her, it's his. Hyuk's a guy, not a girl. Man, the translation is terrible, but it's good. It's fine. Sorry, I felt like I wasn't. He said he was disappointed in me. He said he wouldn't spend a penny on me, so I just had to leave. He had no sympathy at all. I was embarrassed and ashamed. I could have begged him, but he would have sneered at me for sure. What about other relatives? They didn't consider me or my father their family. And I couldn't afford to have any more part-time jobs. Then the scholarship was, I went to meet my professor to drop out of school in despair, but then he offered to help me. The professor wasn't aware of my family background. It was revealed later through the Beastars audition. I guess that's why he gave me the offer, and somebody had to be the scapegoat since I had taken a scholarship money. Sorry, my nose. I deserve any kind of blame for that. Hyuk bit his lip hard. I wasn't thinking straight. I only thought about myself. Someone had to suffer the consequence of my selfish decision. Even my father will be sneering at me in his grave, blaming me for my helpless dependency. That I'm still leeching off his reputation after all. Are you alright, Hyuk? With his head half raised, Hyuk put on a faint smile. You know what? I'm rather relieved. Wish I could have told you earlier. Scholarship. The professor granted Hyuk the scholarship to help him recover from his financial problem. Hyuk didn't know about it, but it was still illegal. Damn. Poor Hyuk, like, how... dude is like the top of the top, right? Like, it's great that he's top of the top, but his father just straight up abandoned him when he was younger, leaving him and his mother penniless. His mother, from what it sounds like, didn't give two shits about him. He tried to work his ass off to make a living, but probably around the time when this game like was based, economic depression probably set in. There might be a recession. Cost of living is pretty high, especially like dealing with college tuition. It's crazy high, and that stuff does take a toll on you. I talked about it during Genshin, I think yesterday, where there's people I work with who have 2 to 3 jobs, and it's just insane to me. It's like, yeah, you have to work 2 to 3 jobs in order to like survive on planet Earth, and it doesn't seem right. And it sucks that the professor went behind his back to do something illegal and pin his name on it. Like, that just really sucks. Poverty. Struggled through life after his father abandoned them. He had to fend for himself while growing up. It's weird though, because like the people who go through poverty, from what I understand, like they're the ones who appreciate life way more than pretty much everyone else. So, info. It was clearly odd that they would talk about my university days, since it was barely mentioned during the show. Could it be that they're one of the school employees? Yohek's gaze turned to one side. He shook his head after pondering a bit. They talked not only about me, but also everyone else. Since I knew about everyone, they're not my school employee. I think it's somebody that has a connection to all of us. We should remember that. Who has a... I mean, once again, everything points to Seal, but it's also Ju-Young, I guess, also fits. Assumption. Staff. Meets various conditions, though. Although we can't lump all the staff together when speculating, we should also consider the possibility that they're not a staff member. If we raise suspicion without thinking carefully, we could end up facing severe backlash. We're free to think what we want, but we should be careful with our move. Right, we're still in the process. Ju-Young looked towards Seal, who was standing across the room. There's a staff among us. Let's be careful about what we say. I'll make sure I don't offend. Seal wouldn't like it if we try to hold any staff responsible. Does Seal really care about the staff, though? Like, we knew that a guy took the blame. One of the staff members took the blame for, like, what happened. Like, I don't think he cares about the staff, if I'm being honest. They're sharing and delivering all kinds of stories and rumors if they're excited. It's because they're getting fervent feedback for what they post regardless of its truth. It's gotten worse ever since S. Sung-yeon talked about the past. Yohek looked at Ina while nodding. He couldn't see her face because she was facing the opposite direction. Want to know what I think? Whether they look similar or have the same name, it doesn't really matter. If Ina says no, then it's no. Even if she was lying, she must have her own reasons. What's important is how we see ourselves. That just sounds like you. Good stuff. Ina is avoiding an answer. That is another way of dealing with the situation. You could do the same, you know. Another rapport event, let's go! Oh, speaking of Mother, I must have bored you with my depressing story. I'm sorry, I know how troubled you already are. No, Gyuhuk, you don't need to say that. It's not really a big deal, unlike what everyone says on Fader. Jiyun paused. By the way, what about your mother? When you were going through the hardships, didn't she do anything to help you? Gyuhuk raised his head after a brief silence. We were in the same shoes. He deserted and forgot her too, just like me. That's what I figured. Forgotten. We were forgotten and buried under his presence, just as bright light gave darker shadows. We had no support, no money. We had to survive on our own, relying on each other. The flip side, Gyuhuk's father, Byung-hee, was a very selfish person. Getting nearly no attention from his father, Gyuhuk and his mother had to live in poverty. It's abuse. Gyuhuk stared at Duyun for a moment, somewhere beyond Duyun. Mother and I were in the same shoes, so we relied on each other. Although I'm pretty sure what she wanted was my father's care. She was physically sick, so it must have been really hard and lonely for her. What was she sick with? Type 1 diabetes. She had to have insulin injections all her life. His mother lived a sad life after being abandoned by her husband, and her son was all she had to live for. He had to prepare insulin injections for her ever since he was a student. Gyuhuk paused for a moment. She even developed a complication during her pregnancy. I wasn't myself for a long time after she had died. Yuhuk looked disturbed. My father finally accepted me only after her death, but it was all too late. You must have felt emotionally detached from your father then. I didn't know the mysterious Byung-hee Lee had this kind of family history behind him. It's the power of money to make anything happen, or like it never happened. It's all a thing of the past. Both my parents passed away, but people just see me as the only child of a rich family. I don't know what to say. The difficult times have already turned into memories. I sometimes miss those days. Tough times. After his mother's death, Yuhuk went through hard times. Only then did Byung-hee Lee begin to take care of Yuhuk, but it was already too late. Jesus. Wandering. His mother's death was a tremendous shock. He'd had tough times for a while. Only then Byung-hee admitted Yuhuk as his son. So literally, dude just... So his mom did care, which is good to know. Like, his mom did care up until her death, but... That's gotta be fucking traumatic, dude. That's gotta be fucking traumatic. I can understand why he doesn't know that. You took time off from school because of your family accident, but how? Heard them. There was literally no interaction between us. Yuhuk faintly smiled at Do-yoon, who was tilting his head. You must have had many friends. No, but I... School friends, alumni, my acquaintances. I never talked about my family to them. I never initiated talking to them. Rather, I always kept my distance from them. You have a whole different perspective when you know my reason. Yuhuk lowered his head as if feeling embarrassed. Is it because of my family culture? You know my father's family. They were ashamed of both me and my father. Guess he didn't like his family either since he never took me there. As if they were strangers. None of our relatives even came to his funeral. Seriously? That's unbelievable. Now I'm getting criticized again because I've joined Beastars and people started to find out about my family background. Judging someone's class when forming a relationship, I understand that. I provided them nothing for their judgment of you then. Sad, huh? I was basically isolating myself from people by building a wall around me. Isolation. His father, who had severed relations with his relatives, couldn't visit them. His funeral was not open to the public. Few relatives attended. Well, that could be a virtue of artists. Yoon continued while pulling at his own earlobe. I wasn't all that sociable either. I learned from Beastars that you frequently moved. My dad, he was always on a business trip, taking care of all the dirty, dangerous, and demanding tasks. And I had to bounce around my relatives' houses. Were your relatives nice to you? Of course, but I didn't feel comfortable. After creating the band in high school, I rarely went home. I know it sounds corny, but I was feeling lonely. Let's just say you were a solitary person. Yes, that. With the thoughts and emotions from the moment, I think they helped me write songs. Is that why you mentioned the virtue of an artist? See, I'm pretty good at comforting others. Okay, let's say you are. Maybe I was a bit off point. Solitude. While his father was working abroad, he had to stay at several relatives' house. He had spent most of his time playing in the band since high school. He had been inspired to write songs about his feelings of loneliness during those times. Anyway, the things people love about you right now. Maybe they were created during the time of your isolation. I know what you mean. Thank you. Okay now. That's good. Got to have friends around here. Why is this entire cast so likable? Like, the only person I don't like is Seal, because he's a creep. Like, he's stalking Ina, and he just hates everybody. Like, he's just a pessimistic douchebag. His Depresso Espresso. You think Sungo is really accessing Fader overseas? You can give full credit to someone who's hiding their true IP. Maybe they were just bluffing, but their murder threat just could have happened by coincidence. Yuhuk looked at Do-yoon again after mumbling something to himself. Sungo was meant to keep us confused. They want us to feel anxious and respond frantically on Fader. Well, I won't let them have their way. Did they use Plughole to somehow fight them? Do-yoon shook his head after a brief pause. That's why you shouldn't respond to this guy in any way. Don't worry, I wouldn't waste my precious data on that troll. The last man standing gets the victory in this kind of battle. If I'm eliminated, I'm all vulnerable. You sound like you've had some fights online before. I've seen many Beastars threads on Fader. Yuhuk smiled bitterly. I've learned enough about how ugly things get on Fader. Welcome to the world of social media and Twitter. If you have one, just best to stay silent most of the time. Process delayed. Taking into account the way they handle things, it will take quite some time. It seems that quite a few people reported the incident. It's early in the morning, so it could also be an obstacle. Damn, it might help if we just block the account. Or we could just ignore him, but that wouldn't be wise. Someone will surely spot it and pass it on to us. Hyoek raised his watch, but then dropped his arm. He opened his mouth again after letting out a sigh. I guess we're doing this to come up with our own solution. If this goes on, it will continue to affect our mental health. I just hope things don't get out of hand. Yeah, but you depressed me slightly, so now I have to reload. I need to have max sanity, because if I don't have max sanity, things could get really bad really fast. So I just want to make sure that we know what we're doing, okay? All right. Assumption top 10. If we take into account those eliminated from the top 10, most of them were on bad terms with Hyusung. One person had the most trouble with Hyusung. Hyoek hesitated, pondering on what to say. It was Hyoju. I don't know who Hyoju is, but sure. Oh, she and Hyusung hated each other. Sungyeon also mentioned Hoju in the post. One of the top 10 who had a conflict. I mean, it could be. I don't think so, but it could be. It could be Sungyeon. Finalists received the watch. She must have known the account and password. We shouldn't jump to conclusions yet. It's not going to change anything anyway. I guess you're right. I'm just saying the name comes to mind if I think about it. Hyoek crossed his arms and checked his sleeves. She was also eliminated in the first round of the finals. Let's keep her in mind and move on. Contestants' grudge. Of the top 10 contestants who received the watches, Hyusung was the most at odds with Hyojo Co. She was eliminated during the first stage of the finals. Sungyeon, I mentioned her name too. Interesting. However, that fucking beat my mental health. Now I need to reload. Now I gotta do this again. Hyoek, please. It's reasonable to say that Sungyeon did it. Still, could she really be Sungyeon? It's not like she can come back to the show by doing that. As you said, we shouldn't jump to conclusions. She was on bad terms with Hyusung and she had a watch. That's the only thing that bothers us. Hyojo was eliminated in the first round of the finals, right? Yeah. Wait a second, I just want to be sure. Okay, cool. I was like, wait, did I do the other ones? Assumption staff. To be honest, I'm not comfortable talking about it. But the staff? Every time something happened, the staff members will always be the first to blame. If we accuse the staff of being Sungyeon, it won't look good, but... Hyoek closed his eyes and paused for a minute. We use the fader account provided by the show. Since one account is bound to each watch, we can't log into another's, right? Still, the others know the sensitive information about our accounts. If they know the account and password, they can access the cloud server. Hyoek let out a sigh while continuing his works. Okay, a little bit. Excuse me. I shouldn't fixate my thoughts on one thing. I also think about other suspect fools. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little tired. Ina, let's talk about your stuff. I'm back. What you miss? Not much. Just that I feel really bad for Hyoek, and he's like my great friend right now. Grudge. Yeah, Hyusung and you in particular, if that's the case, one thing does come to mind, although it might not be true. Who hates both of us? Hurry up and tell me. The stalker. They were also harsh on Hyusung and you. Ina continued while fiddling with her ears. Everyone knew that I was on bad terms with Hyusung. Even Beastars openly showed it. They wrote comments about how they want to kill him. But, I mean, what do you mean why? Because Beastars wanted it to seem as if there was romantic chemistry between us. Because we look good together? Because I'm kind of photogenic. I look good on screen. Shit. Wrong thing. Excuse me? I'm the one who's truly photogenic. You were in it as a sidekick. Okay, if you say so. You continue while shaking your head. My question is the stalker related to me? If that's the case, isn't it just the stalker's unrequited love? That's true, but I'll keep what you said in mind. Right, we shouldn't go into details then. Stalker grudge. Ina's stalker showed anger towards Duyun for often appearing with Ina, and he was extremely hostile towards Hyusung, who was known to be at odds with Ina. Well, now I gotta reload because gotta choose the other option. Ina. That was so absurd. Excuse me. That was absurd. The editing team hacked at the scenes that didn't even mean anything. The editing experts are capable of creating issues out of nothing. Ina continued while shaking her head. My question is the stalker related to me? If that's the case, isn't that just the stalker's unrequited love? Yeah. And we know that the stalker is Seal. So like all signs point to Seal. I'm just being honest here. Password was shared and security was terrible. I only used Fader, so I didn't realize how risky it could have been. Each account was bound to each watch anyway. Only Yusung had access to photos in the cloud. That's why we weren't able to immediately figure out how it was leaked. Ina scratched her short hair hard. That's what I'm saying. Even if we narrow our suspect pool to people who know the password, I can't even imagine how many there would be. It can't be that many. On what ground do you say so? If it was that widespread, Hyusung's photos would have been spread long before. That makes sense. You need to know the account in order to access the cloud. Nice, Kitsy. Might be able to narrow down the pool. It would be nice. By the way, Ina, I see this yearbook photo. Is this? Oh shit, this is info. Never mind. I heard something in the past. I asked some of the old staff members about stalker issues to see if anything similar had happened in previous seasons. I guess there were. Bingo, they had a stalker in every season. One of them even showed up at the closed set filming. Ina continued while holding onto her shoulders. He even came to the filming location for an audition mission. Was the production schedule leaked? How was that possible? Exactly, the stalkers gather whatever information they can get their hands on. Believe it or not, he even showed up at the contestants' private dinner. He was finally arrested there. He was arrested? Did it end there? Ina raised her face and she looked bitter. They just let him go with a warning. That whole ordeal kind of petered out after the contestant was eliminated from the audition. That's scary. Anyway, stalkers aren't that stupid at gathering information. Stalkers collect personal information randomly. In past Beastar seasons, stalkers had followed contestants and obtained their private schedules. Stalkers are crazy. Stalker. Of course there is a crime to stalk someone. Time has passed, but these people never change. Were there many when you were in the group? It was bad. I saw some horrible cases. Speaking of which, something comes to mind. Did you mention about the stalker? Be useful to remember that. What is it? I think it would be helpful to know. It might have something to do with this case. I agree with you. I'll just tell you how they try to access the information. Young began her story while staring at her feet. They intentionally approached the manager or agency staff, making an approach completely disguised as a coincidence. Some of them used their connections to dig up personal stories or find out about schedules, or they would even bribe agency staff. It's hard to say no once the relationship is established and money is exchanged hands. That's an awful lot of effort to stalk someone. Surprisingly, huh? This kind of thing actually happens a lot. Stalker method. According to Ji Young, aggressive stalkers often bribe people and use their connections to obtain personal info and schedules. Okay. Damn. Stalkers be scary. What do you think about stalkers, Yuhuk? Stalker. I know what it feels like to have my privacy invaded. We all do. What are the odds of them having information on contestants, huh? They might have used all means necessary to get the information. Yuhuk blurred his last words. As Sungyeon sniped at every contestant. Stalkers are usually obsessed with one target, not everyone. Then they're not a stalker, I guess. Yuhuk pondered while rubbing his chin. We should ask for advice from someone who might have some good ideas about our situation. We can't talk to each other forever without coming to a conclusion. True, and we already have one stalker among us. Their name is Seal. We already know that Seal's Ina stalkers. By the way, know this yearbook photo? Oh, this yearbook photo, she looks like you. Did you see it too? It somehow found its way to me. That worked pretty nicely. What do you think? The name and vibe, it's different from yours. Well, okay, it's over then? I guess it is, right? Are you questioning me? Is that what it sounds like? Ina dropped her eyes for a moment. The post of my school alumni in another photo. Ina raised her head after a brief moment. Think whatever you want. You want me to judge? I just don't want to say anything. Ambiguous. Someone claimed that one of her alumni is much like Ina in terms of name and appearance. She neither agreed nor disagreed. I'll stop then. Pulling back now after all those questions? You don't like people digging up dirt behind your back. I wasn't curious, but worried about you. It's none of your business. Worry about me when everything's revealed later. Okay. So... Okay. Alumni test. University friend, huh? I struggled with the university entrance exam when it was too late, then I gave up. You grew up under a great father and went to a good university. Happy life, isn't it? I just envy him. That works. I just envy him. Never mind, that's bad. People tend to want it more if they can't have it. I devoted my whole life to the band when I was in high school. I didn't even think much about going to university. We're both in the same shoes. I have no regrets because I was happy. Definitely. I'm still jealous though. If it's about the campus life, you should ask Yuhak about it. I'm no expert on that matter. Fine, I already did, but I need to go back. Man, I'm just saying all the wrong things. We had a good life and did what we wanted, right? Well, good job trying to comfort me. I devoted my whole life to the band when I was, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking that I was gonna get something else. Nope, that was literally just for rapport. That was literally just for rapport and nothing else. Foreign IP. Foreign IP, trying to play smart? Africa? Seriously far. This Sangyeon is clearly afraid of something. If what they said was true, there's no reason for them to hide. Yeah, they blabbered on while pretending to be Sangyeon. The photo was stolen from Hyosung. They'll be able to figure out their identity if we keep tracking. The two of them slowly nodded at each other. They must pay for the mayhem they created. Almost there. That's true. Also, I got the feeling I feel like I should have been on this path first instead of seeing the ending that I saw, because I already know that Seal's the stalker. So I wasn't taken care of if the reports have already been made. We might have to wait a little longer. Can't wait to see them exposed. They should pay for their devilish mouth. I won't let them escape. Considering the way they've been blabbering on, I don't think they burrow over that fast. Yeah, we'll stay put until they get caught. Why do you think the law exists? It's for capturing a scumbag like them. Now we're talking about the law? Yes, the law. The important thing is to punish them severely. That's the only way to break the damn chain. Law-abiding. She has a strong distaste for crime. She thinks that harsh punishments are needed to eradicate the vicious cycle of crime. You know, you're okay. What do you think? Are you okay with the current situation? I'm pissed off. Don't get agitated, that's what they want. I know, what's the point of getting angry here? You should also pray that their identity is revealed ASAP. Made some errors, remember? No, I did not, actually. I've not made any errors so far in this route. Assumption top 10. We all received them during the finals. Although it took some time to unlock useful functions. Didn't they retrieve them by saying how they needed to tweak them? That's why the watch was turned into a piece of crap after I got it back. There's nothing working except Fader. And you barely used Fader. Never had any passion for it. No, there was no errors made from the previous route. According to the guide that I used just to like double check everything, I did everything correctly. Like they want you to see it first, but I feel like you should see this part before that. But it's very typical of you. Anyhow, all contestants must know the password. We've narrowed down the pool further, right? Who knows? What if the premise that Sangyeon is one of the contestants is wrong? Right, we might end up going back to square one. Yeah, so far, according to the guide that I've just been using to just double check, and like I've checked the streams and everything to make sure that I've not missed anything. I've not missed anything so far. I'm actually perfectly on track. Staff, but I've not spoiled myself on anything, so we're good. I guess not all, but some of them could know about it. Wait, I think I'm getting somewhere here. Ina frowned and sunk her head. Then suddenly she raised her head. I once forgot my password. I once forgot her password and couldn't recall it for a... I mean, you could forget. You could forget the password. It could happen. Hey, I'm talking about what happened in the past, not now. Past when? Shortly after I received my watch. Frankly, the password didn't concern me since it was given to us, right? Maybe because of that, I had a hard time remembering it. So I was lost in thought with the watch on my wrist. But then a staff member came to me and told you the password? Don't you cut in, but yes. A Fader account manager? Did the person look familiar? No, not at all. So you get it now? Some staff members do know about the watch policy. It felt odd at the time, but it feels worse now. Staff policy. Ina said she had forgotten her password and had to ask the staff for it. So there are certainly people of the staff who would know about the account to password policy. Fair. Very, very fair. So far we're good. I'm just double checking. Shoot, I need a break. Are you alright? Should we stop talking about this? Ina raised her pale face. I'd rather talk about something else. Talking about the stalker is already giving me enough stress. I'm getting burned out here. Am I not right? Do you want to smell the smell? No, never mind, my mistake. Why are you looking so distracted? I like how you're trying to narrow down the suspect pool, but we should also move on to other subjects. True, however, guess what? That was the one time you depressed me, Ina. You've been great all day today. Alright, now we gotta talk to Seal. Alright, Seal. You apparently have all of the stuff. Grudge. Yu-sung had so many haters. But haters and people holding a grudge are not the same. Not so much these days. People are so impatient these days that they can do anything once they are pissed off. Seal spoke again after a brief pause. Speaking of haters, you were also getting quite a fair share of haters recently. I know, come to think of it, Sung-yeon specifically mentioned Hyusung to me. In that sense, how about your band members? As a suspect, you mean? Ji-yoon held his breath for a second. No, Masquerade is very special to me. I'm not talking about what you think. You never know what your other members think about you. The record deal had been cancelled and the team was breaking down from inside. Ji-yoon didn't want to spoil anything, but he had to oppose the deal. Because he wanted to keep everyone together and protect the band. He remembered the time they had spent together in the euphoric moments of their live concerts. No matter what you think about them, they might think differently. That's true. When he said he wanted to protect the band, the members opposing his decision were just sneering at him. Protest. Masquerade was very special in his life. He wasn't interfering, but wanted to protect the band by opposing members noted as his excuse. Goodness. Do-yoon only tried to protect his band, but his decision created an even bigger conflict. Members who didn't side with Do-yoon only snorted at his sincere explanation. Do-yoon shook his head. But I'm not Sung-yeon's only target. Any of my band members as a suspect? That would be absurd. I was just suggested not to leave out any possibility. What about the staff? As Sung-yeon impersonated Sung-yeon? Anyone on your mind? Whoa, that really widens the suspect pool. It's likely that Hyusung earned the grudge of the staff from shows other than B-Stars as well. We might get lost if we consider all of them. Assumption grudge. Hyusung and Do-yoon had many haters. Sung-yeon may have deserved the grudges that some staff members in the audience held against her. Wow, so that was actually required. Alright, let's talk to everyone about this grudge. How do you feel about grudges? Haters, staff members. I'm not even sure if grudge is the right word to use here. Then should we leave that out of the discussion? Jiyoung tilted her head and paused for a moment. Haters could actually hold a grudge too. I'm speaking from my own experience from below. Something happened? No major incident, nothing like that. But just that there were a lot of minor negative things. Would you call that a grudge? That's a little vague. What about the staff? I should be careful when talking about them. Damn. Jiyoung's like, I don't want to talk about the staff. That's a slippery road. Why would they associate Hyusung with you? Frankly, I believe it's the power of editing that did it. Gyo averted his gaze and started the last words. I'm alright. I'm trying to talk about something else. In your opinion, when did I suddenly start getting haters? You want me to tell you? I have some ideas, of course. People around me might have different ideas. I know what you're trying to say, but... Need to say anything specifically? I mean, it's Gyo, so we don't want to make him uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Of course it was about Masquerade. Please, don't make me say that. Gyo patted Do-yoon on his shoulder. To go deeper, no one's free from haters. As for me, the old fans had a change of heart when I made it to the finals. Do-yoon unknowingly bit his lip. The fans who were always there for them since the very beginning, they knew the journey and hardships the band had gone through. Their criticism was especially painful. A dagger. After the finals started, many of his band's fans criticized him. Those who had welcomed him at first eventually joined the criticism. His former fans' criticism was like a dagger to his heart. There were new people. Half and half at the most now. Since the story started to spread, people have been criticizing me as well. I want you to look on the brighter side. I'm saying this now because of Sung-yeon. What about Hyusung? I think it's about the scandal. Expectations were great, and so was the anger from betrayal. Yeah. I think we should stop talking about this now. Haters. Do-yoon's betrayal of his own band was before the finals, and Hyusung's history of school violence significantly grew the pool of haters. I mean, that's fair. Right, that's fair. Alright, what's the assumption, Greg? Excuse me. Haters, I'm not so sure. It's too vague to accuse Sungyeon of being responsible for this. You don't think it makes sense? Even if they got lots of time and are passionate. I understand that you and Hyosung have lots of haters, but I also have my fair share of haters plus a stalker. Ina shrugged her shoulders. I guess not haters then. You look so disappointed. Don't worry, we'll figure them out. Keep thinking. Keep thinking. You're getting closer. Ina's just like, I know who it is. Motherfucker, figure it out. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. All right, Seal. Password. They didn't manage passwords securely. They unilaterally set it up all of our watches with the same password to make it easy to manage them. All our watches? You don't have a watch. But at least not every staff member knows the password, right? Right, only the relevant staff knows about it, I guess. The staff are all too busy to mind others' businesses. So you can't really nail down the suspects among the staff. Seal scratched his lips with his finger. We tend to answer not clearly in defense of ourselves. If anything bad happens, the staff are the first ones whom fader users will nag at. Yes, I know that. It's always been like that. If we widen our perspective a bit more, hacking is another possible explanation. Our accounts have always been vulnerable to hacking due to the poor security level. Maybe our accounts are already hacked by someone out there. Subject hacker. Beastar's security policy was lax, with the same password being used for all the watches. Some are concerned that the watches could be hacked. Okay. That's interesting. That's a good point. It's like there could be a hacker and easy since all the passwords are the same. A hacker? That doesn't sound very likely. That came out while considering the password access. But it's not like they were demanding money. Although some hackers tend to leak info just for the fun of it. Do you think we're making a wild guess? June crossed her arms and touched her cheek with her finger. But they used an impersonated account to make an appearance, right? They seem disgruntled or even frustrated. A hacker who has nothing to do with us wouldn't go that far. It's true that it doesn't sound very probable. We might want to leave out something that isn't probable. Probable? Probable. I don't know why I just said probable. Why the fuck did I keep saying probable? I also just realized that I saved the song. That's fine. Bro. I'm stupid. I don't see the context. Pro. It was brought up because someone hacked into the cloud. I just don't see why they would do that by impersonating Sungyeon. They certainly succeeded in gaining attention. That's what they were going. Yorick tilted his head while mumbling something. Were we overly focusing on the photos only? No, we're trying to come up with the possible suspect pool for now. We need to gather whatever clues we can get our hands on. Let's keep going over them. I wish I was smart and didn't just say probable. Not gonna lie, it's kind of making me crack up inside that I just randomly was like, yeah, probable. That's the word that I was looking for, probable. Ooh, yeah, response to hacker. Someone might have hacked into this several times already. There was also a strange accident while using fader. Strange accident. For instance, I received a login failure message when I wasn't even using fader, and I found new fader friends whom I've never added. It gave me chills. Weird things kept happening on fader. Something's off for sure. Yeah. Something's clearly off. And amongst all things, how would you explain the login failure? Right? I thought I made a mistake at first. Thank God our fader can only be accessed from each other's watch. I even asked the staff member to change the password for me, but they refused it by mentioning the policy. If what you said is true, the stalker should be included in our suspect list. I'm pretty sure of it. If not, why would that happen to me? Stalker or hacker? Ina often received messages about failed login attempts and friends being added or removed. Had she been hacked, but she couldn't change her password? So the stalker is a staff member who somehow knows the password. Crazy. Not like we have a person here who is a stalker who has appeared in so many different freaking images with Ina in the background staring at her. Info. If you limit the scope to people who hold personal information on contestants, that narrows down the scope, doesn't it? It could be wrong, but then only Beastar staff should be considered, not even all of them. There are agencies we outsourced on the background checks to. That's about it. Nope. There's another group that we shouldn't miss. Seal pointed his finger to absent-minded Dudun. The audition contestants. As the saying goes, the beacon does not shine on its own base. Scope of information. Those who could have had access to such information include the staff, background check agencies, and the contestants. Dude, you are full of information. And you haven't depressed me yet. You're doing good, Seal. I think I didn't even start. Wait, I just want to go over one thing. She uncovered her face and her hair. What are you doing? Jiyoung raised her head. Thinking? It's a habit of mine. You didn't know? No, it's my first time seeing you doing that. I see. Anyways, I've been thinking about it. Anyone out there could find our info if they're really determined to find it. Out there? A private investigator, for example. Are you saying Sang-yeon hired a private investigator? Oh, it's just a wild guess to expose who Sang-yeon could be. That seems to widen our pool of suspects. Just forget what I said. It wasn't worth considering. Well, that was actually ridiculous, and I feel embarrassed. I'm sorry. Don't worry. In a different timeline, you never said that. I would just like to premiere on YouTube from 2 Steps from Hell. No worries, no worries. Hope you're having a wonderful day, War. Hope you're enjoying your day off. Yuck! Scope of information. From what I hear, there were also various rumors among the contestants. I should think so, since different people were put in one place. Yuck frowned as if he was trying to think of something. Most of them were groundless rumors. Only a few of them sounded plausible. No matter how it sounds, it's nothing more than a rumor. No matter how plausible, it is still a rumor. After all, they're all rumors unless validated as facts, right? I agree. We know more about that than anyone. Contestants didn't know the details either. The two of them nodded at each other. I'm not trying to point out whether the rumor is substantial. That is what Sang-yeon said. It's identical to the rumor among the contestants. We should consider this too. Contestants' rumors. Some of what Sang-yeon had said seem to be rumors shared by the Beastars contestants. Interesting. Excuse me. Very interesting indeed. What about you? Scope of information. Isn't that a lot? I guess not everyone was aware of the identical information. I think there must have been some kind of qualitative difference. Ina grabbed Dooyun's arm while continuing her remarks. Hey, wait. I suddenly remembered what one of our scriptwriters told me before. She said they share our info when they are writing scripts for the audition. I heard she gave it to the writer, director, and video editors. The quality of information. They had no choice but to obey to a certain extent, didn't they? I guess they really had no choice if they were to produce the show. That's the wrong one. What are you, their manager? You're off the point. You need to point out the problem. Our information could have been shared among more company employees than necessary. Ina firmly closed her mouth and frowned. I'm seeing stories I haven't even mentioned. We're here to join the audition, not to sell our private information. If they're going to pry into our private lives, they should at least handle that information carefully. We shouldn't be discussing this right now. Staff sharing info. Ina heard from the staff that some of the contestants' personal info was shared among the writers, directors, and editors in order to write better scripts. That's great. Let me reload back in space-time. Nice, War, nice. I wonder what kind of information she gave away. If it's something that Sang-yeon would mention, that's a problem. Right. I'm seeing stories I haven't even mentioned. And there we go. Once they say the same thing that they just said, everything is fine. Alright, Seal. We have a lot of things to talk to you about. Go. Who's this? Some of the Fader users think it's Ina. Don't they have anything better to do? Seal sighed and looked away from the watch. She didn't look alike at first glance, but there's some similarity. One thing is clearly different. Her name. Isn't that the most important ID? They're totally different people. They ought to be paying it for our safe rescue instead. Seal clenched his messenger bag strap. His other hand was pointing at Dooyun's watch. Don't pay attention to their nonsense. We shouldn't get swayed by some stupid rumors while being trapped in here. We don't have the time for riddles. I love riddles, though! Motherfucker! Listen, if the killer leaves a riddle, I'm fucking solving it. I don't care. I guess Gyuhuk was truly a mysterious person to the core. I can't believe I didn't know about the accident. Gyuhuk tends to draw the line, you know? Although we barely notice it because he's kind most of the time. I sense that he likes to keep distance from people in a very polite manner. Yoon continued while looking at the watch. I guess the post wasn't intended for criticizing him. Looks like he's made no enemies so far. Unlike Hyosung's friends, who were all out to get him. I guess he's always in first place for a good reason. Everything just works out for him, by a career, money, or fame. Seal stopped mumbling and flinched after sensing Do-yoon's gaze. Thank you for the hydrate. He's also lucky. I just envy his everything. Talent, luck, and family background. Although he's now just one of the survivors waiting for rescue. That is true. Also, Seal, you haven't depressed us yet. I'm so proud of you. Foreign IP. You said Sung-yeon was using a foreign IP, right? Right. Their IP traces back to Africa. That's typical. They disguise their IP to hide their identity. Does that mean we can't catch them? We can if we're able to track them down. Seal adjusted his glasses, looked Yoon straight into his eyes. But it's not easy to get there to the tracing phase. I remember reading an article that said we just have to gather data and submit it. So how are we supposed to do that when we're all trapped inside? You're right. It's not like we could do something with the watch. Just pray that somebody out there is keeping record of everything from Fader. Sung-yeon has to pay for raising hell, whether they're a murderer or an internet freak. For being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oops. Alright, so Seal depressed us. That's fine. That's fine, Seal. I wasn't expecting anything. It's highly unlikely they would take care of this immediately. I wonder how long they would neglect them like this. Everyone's disturbed. That's typical of Fader. It's a foreign service, after all. We could get the warrant the next day, but there's nothing we can do if they take months to process the case. They don't have a branch here? It's been years since they first talked about establishing it here. You know what that means? Then why did Beastars create the official account? And they have to. It's got the most users. Seal's gaze turned to Doon's watch. They are fully aware that there are many malicious users. Beastars already consider the heavy amount of complaints it would get from Fader users. The bigger the pool, the bigger the response. As you know, you need to be interested in someone to beat them up. Seal nodded, but his face turned grim again. But they didn't know things would get this bad. I don't know about that, buddy. Seems like everything is pointing to B-Star's staff knowing that this was going to happen. Right, Seal? Also, that's 2 times you've depressed us, Seal. Seal, please, stop depressing us. Top 10. They started issuing the watches during the finals. The password policy was identical for everyone, right? Right. There was no need to change it. Seal scratched his temples while looking at the watch. To be honest, the watch wasn't even a finished product. Oh, any untold story behind it? I don't know the details, but you've experienced minor issues while using it, haven't you? Ian raised his wrist to look at the watch. Some of its functions don't work properly. The sponsor didn't care about the integrity of the product as long as it was seen on TV. At the time, I was worried about it. But now it's the only thing we can cling on to. That's true. Also, you didn't depress us. We're making great progress now. Staff. You're awfully curious about the staff's work. I just needed concrete info. Who were the Fader managers? Seal glanced at Duyun with cold eyes. Yeah, I figured as much. Are you suspicious of the staff again? We need to narrow down the pool of suspects. But you sound like you're interrogating me. I can't remember every one of their names. I'm sorry, just let me know if you can remember any. Yes, I will. After a brief silence, Seal drooped his head. I'm sorry for overreacting. Stop pouncing on the staff every time something bad happens. It doesn't feel good. I knew you didn't mean it. I just snapped. Let's be real. He has every reason to be upset about that. Like, I know he doesn't normally care about the staff, but like, he's a staff member too, and he doesn't want to get blamed, even though I'm pretty sure it's him. It is fishy though. Bribery was offered. It would have been easy to find help. It's difficult to trace the personal deals. Duyun suddenly raised his head while rubbing his chin. Are you saying the staff sold the info? I'm just assuming it's possible. The problem is that there's no hard evidence. Well, that was a great conversation. 10 out of 10. Love it, Seal. All right. Grudge. Do you want to hear some more? What about the grudge? We've been meeting Sung-yeon as contestants. I wondered how the staff thought about her, and that's why I'm asking you. Seal changed his posture after a brief hesitation. First of all, we were sharing a common opinion about our relationship with her. We all agree that we're at Sung-yeon's disposal. We call ourselves disposable tools because she uses us once and then throws us away. I didn't know she was that bad. That's because she never treated you, or products for sale, in a bad manner. Of course, they were all treated differently. I mean, how did you take it? Are you okay, Seal? How did you respond? Yeah, if she treated you like that, I wonder what it would have been like. Of course she treated me like that. I was angry, but I had to bear with her. It's true that I'm not a skilled veteran in this field. Seal shrugged his shoulders. That's what you think, but you did so many things throughout the show. You don't deserve to be treated like a tool. Thank you for saying that. I would have felt much better at workplace if she had been just like you. I'd be thankful if that's how you feel. Seal slowly nodded. Jiyun could barely see his eyes behind his glasses. Hi, Cheese. What are you here to do? Some people think that they're of a higher class. Supposed to properly serve the contestants. Who would say such a thing? That's what Hyusung used to say. Jiyun didn't know what to say. The staff weren't happy with Hyusung either. He ignored and looked down on us if he was better than us. Staff grudge. Some staff held ill will towards Sungyeon, who they felt had a bad attitude and frequently used people. They also disliked Hyusung and his constant arrogance towards them? Arrogance. That's the word. The word was arrogance, but I could not pronounce it properly. Hacker. That's good, Cheese. We appreciate it. It's not impossible. It's not like anyone cares about security. Hacking into the account would have been easy if someone put their mind to it. I thought everyone received the security training. Seal shrugged his shoulders. Maybe the executives and full-time workers, but there are many part-timers working at the studio. Considering their low wage, you can't expect too much from them regarding the security confidentiality issue. Don't they sign a contract? There must be some provisions concerning the security rules. Remember everything that was written on the contract? I did peruse a few sections. You're contestants, that makes sense, but that's you. Most of them just sign the paper without reading a sentence. Welcome to Terms and Conditions. If you're somebody who reads the Terms and Conditions, good on you. The rest of us don't, because we feel like we already understand it. The problem is, Terms and Conditions actually are very important. You should pay attention to them sometime. Final one, scope of info. The agencies you outsourced the background checks to? What were they like? I'm not sure how to answer that. As far as I know, the work was divided among a number of subcontractors. So did you guys hire multiple subcontractors? Yes, because in the beginning, there are so many contestants, although the numbers rapidly decrease over time. Seal hesitated and lowered his head. But all the contracts have been terminated. All of them? Right. Seal glanced at Jiyun to check his complexion. Anyway, I'm sure they couldn't have easily leaked the information. I told you before, there was an indemnity clause in the contract. To the remark that the background checking agencies can't disclose anything. So it's unlikely to be those agencies? It doesn't sound like something they would do. If they get caught, they won't be able to cope with the aftermath of compensation and stuff. B-Stars collapse, not the production company. Background checking is their job. If they get caught wreaking havoc at a time like this, they might have to face a lawsuit. For them to act out of spite, the stakes are too high. Seal spoke again after a brief pause. It's better to just keep one's mouth shut when the situation is very unstable. Even as if Sungyeon was involved, I'm sure they did it on a personal level. The agency will never come forward to admit it. Third party involved? The broadcasting station outsourced the background checks to several agencies, but they won't retaliate like this even though their contract was arbitrarily terminated. Boom, that's all of them. Let's go. Saving the game. Let me just make sure we did not miss anything. We did not. All right, we're good. Let us move on to the next part. And since everything's unchanged, we are pretty damn good right now. I need to sort out the stories. At that moment, his watch flashed. Plug hole! Been a while. There you are. I had a hard time wrestling with Sungyeon. Sungyeon missed their timing to back off as we had planned. Narrowed down the candidates? I've determined 3 premises. The Sungyeon person must be someone who has a motive to make a scene, knows your background, and knows your password in order to download the photo from Hyusung's cloud server. The conversation they just had made him feel dizzy. Jiyun began to organize the issues one by one. Alright, here we go. Boom! Let's do this! Which suspect pool satisfies all these conditions? The motive to kill, information on contestants, and the passwords. Okay, haters have the motive to kill. They do have info on the contestants, but they do not know the password. Staff do have the motive to kill. They have information on the contestants, and they have the password. Stalker has motive to kill, information on the contestants, probably does not know password? Maybe. Contestants. And oh wait, no, Stalker being a hacker. Okay, let's try this. The staff weren't happy with Hyosung because of his rude manner. They must have been unhappy with the show because Sungyeon treated them like tools. That might be the reason for holding a grudge. Shit. Hyoju might also hold a grudge against Hyosung. They argued throughout the preliminaries and she was eliminated in the first episode of the finals. That was also mentioned in Sungyeon's post. Damn, I suck. Ina said that she had once received a message saying that someone had attempted to log into her Fader account. Someone from the outside could already have accessed the password. Something doesn't quite connect. Wow. 0 for 3. Try that again. Am I understanding this wrong? Which suspect pool? Oh. It's the staff. So it's all 3 staff ones. Streamline tools, pulling a grudge. Yeah, no, it's all 3 staff. That makes sense. The info on audition contestants was shared internally among the staff. I don't know what the extent they shared the data, but it could be the source of Sungyeon's information. After all, the account and password used by the contestants were issued by the show. A staff member would have been aware of the password or account policy. That's what they meant. I thought they meant like which suspect, like which are the 3 suspects that we have, which is the stalker, the staff. No. Get it. Exactly. One of Sungyeon's possible identities is a staff member who holds a grudge against the show and its contestants. B-Star staff, a possible suspect believed to be Sungyeon. He has a grudge against Hyosung and Sungyeon and knows sensitive information on the top 5. He can access the watch or password list. Lucille. There were still others who had a potential to be Sungyeon. Think harder. Well, it could be the contestants too, I guess. Because the contestants has all 3. Hyoju might also hold a grudge to Hyosung. Sungyeon mentioned the rumors that circulated among the contestants. Sungyeon could have collected info from the rumors. All fighters received a watch. They had been allowed to use it for personal use since the 2nd round. I'm sure they were informed about the account password policy from that moment. That means the other person could also be Ju-young because she's the most technologically savvy. So, hey, I don't know. One of Sung's possible identities is Hyoju, a contestant who wasn't on good terms with Hyosung and was eliminated during the 1st episode of the finals. Finals dropouts. A possible suspect believed to be Sungyeon. Most of the contestants who were eliminated from the finals held a grudge against Hyosung, and they knew more about another's background stories, the watches, and the password. There were still others who had a potential to be Sungyeon. Harder. It's the stalker. So I get it how that works now. So. A stalker may try all sorts of things to get closer to the target, even bribing someone close to them. The stalker could have accessed the information somehow. Ina said that she had once received a message saying that someone had attempted to log into her Fader account. Someone from the outside could have already accessed the password. The stalker was extremely hostile towards me for getting tangled up with Ina during the show. The stalker was also hostile towards Hyosung for being on bad terms with Ina. I guess this is enough to hold a grudge. Okay, gotta know. Possible identities. The stalker hates everyone except their beloved Ina. A possible suspect to believe Sungyeon is Ina's stalker. The stalker hates Hyosung and Do-yoon. This person might have acquired sensitive information on the contestants, the watches, and password policy from insider via something else. I could have scrolled down, probably. For now, Do-yoon had sorted out 3 possible suspects. Hello there, I've come from the future, 500 million years from now. While I was waiting for your answer, the world has been devastated by environmental disasters. I was thinking about environmental disasters, about us Sungyeon. Ready then? Tell me what you think. I think it's the B-Star staff. I'm thinking it's the B-Star staff. Like, that's just what I think. A staff member harassed by the senior staff members and contestants. Obviously, the password and personal info has been exposed. Go back to square one. S. Sungyeon's username contains part of her name. Username? S. Sungyeon. Producer Sungyeon Shin? The name of the producer? Right, just look at the username. S. Sungyeon still stands tall even after her death was officially announced. Come to think of it, a member of the program staff could be a suspect. One more thing. I hear that your watches are not on the market yet. The camera was built in Hyosung's watch only. You didn't even know about the cloud backup thing. Could the viewers have known about that? I don't think so. Then there are the motive, information, and password. This seems way more probable, sir. Wow, I'm telling you the answer. I will give myself 100 out of 100, and let's call it a day. No, wait. Hold on. I'm not done yet. Thank you. Talk to the others based on the premise that S. Sungyeon is one of the staff members. There must be information that only you guys can access. After collecting enough clues, let's knock out that worm with a critical blow. Then all the anxiety will subside and we'll be safe. I hope so. Remember, safety is the most important thing. Take care. Now go talk to your friends. Get back to me later. I hope our channel stays online until then. That was the last of the messages. It was difficult to read his mind from his casual tone. Is he really trying to look after my safety? But it was true that S. Sungyeon's comments and existence were agitating people. If he was going to ward off this troll, Yoon had no choice but to trust Plughole. Yoon said S. Sungyeon could be one of the staff members. That would explain the photo leak or the reason why S. Sungyeon is blabbering on about the show, but do you even realize how many staff members there are? And most of them have probably been taken to the hospital by now. Hi, Cassie. How are you? There's nothing we can do with what you told us so far. We can talk all we want, but it won't get us anywhere. It might even lead to a new threat. What if we just reveal what we've discovered so far to the public? We can't advertise that we're tracking this troll. We might end up like Hyosung if we come forward. Staff members again, you guys just can't drop that idea, can you? What are we, your punching bag? The usual suspects? I say we ignore what people out there say and just wait for the rescue team to arrive. Just sit around and do nothing while S. Sungyeon is beating us up? Who knows what they'll come up with next? And once it's too late, we won't even be able to take countermeasures. I just want them gone. Ina put her arms around her shoulders and trembled. Ina. Jiyoung held Ina's hand. I'm doing alright. It won't hurt to try anything we can. I'm still not sure if they're just someone seeking attention if they murdered Hyosung. S. Sungyeon said Dooyeon was next. Yeah, we'll just have to wait to interfere without even knowing if they're truly Hyosung's attacker or not. I just hope nothing bad happens. That doesn't sound right. Jiyoung. When we reveal their identity, we'll be able to know if they're the attacker or not. If they are, we're helping the police catching a criminal. If not, we can at least make them shut their mouth until we get rescued. No idea what you're referring to. Finally, Gyohak still nodded too. Well, okay, but how are we going to... The problem is that there are a lot of staff members. Where would you even begin? Everyone seemed to agree, but it didn't progress any further. 1 billion years has passed while I was waiting for you. Talk to people about that. The total number of staff members is quite large. Actually, we can significantly narrow it down. Rule out all the staff members working at the site. S. Sungyeon showed up at around 12:20 a.m. That's about 1 hour after the accident. Couldn't identify the missing, and the list of staff names didn't match. Rescued people must have gone to the hospital, gone through an ID check, or talked with the rescue team or policeman. It was not a peaceful time for making a fuss on Fader. Then, the staff member, S. Sungyeon, was not on site. Broadcasting station staff, contractors, or part-timer, on and on and on. Someone who's got a lot to lose wouldn't do such a thing. You're more familiar with the process within the broadcasting station. While I'm at it, I'll give you another hint. Let's think about the personality of S. Sungyeon. You think S. Sungyeon is impulsive or well-organized? Yoon raises his hand to ask a question. Bye, Katsy. Take it easy. You think S. Sungyeon is impulsive, or have they planned this all out? Can't be sure, but I think they're impulsive. Considering what happened to Hyosung, I think they're carefully planned this. Didn't they appear after reading Hyosung's post? Of course they planned it. They uploaded the photo and announced the murder in advance. Oh shit, time. I think they're impulsive. They're a troll. They gotta be impulsive. Sungun seems impulsive. As Sungun reacts impulsively to changing situation. Bingo. My thought equals your thought. Wait. After finding out there were only a few of you left in the accident site, Sungyeon crawled out of their hole. It's very unlikely that Sungyeon planned this all out. The group seemed to believe that Sungyeon was rather impulsive. I was really surprised to see their staged photo, but now that I think about it, they did it only because they were cornered. You can deny Sungyeon is quick-witted, but they were not as meticulous as they were impulsive. Let's say they acted on impulse. What difference does it make, though? If Sungyeon is an impulsive person, our provocative strategy will work well on them. We got 2 leads so far. First, by putting consistent pressure on Sungyeon, they made a mistake of not erasing the time on metadata part. From that mistake, we can infer that the photo was stolen from a watch in your place. The other one is our main challenge. There must be extra clues in Sungyeon's many unplanned posts. Let's figure it out. How did you do that on Fader? I didn't add you. Come on, you shared with me the account and the password. You can use multiple accounts on PC. That's not important at the moment. Assume that Sungyeon is someone you already know. With that in mind, read their posts again and to find out anything suspicious. Review their earlier ones. They must have given out more clues. Hello, I'm Sungyeon Shin, the chief producer of Beastars. Rest assured. The top 5 contestants are showing no remorse and talking mindlessly without knowing that they are trapped there for punishment. They left me to die, but they will pretend as if nothing bad happened after they are rescued and continue to deceive their fans. Forget the impersonation of the producer. Just assume those posts were written by someone you know well. What comes to your mind? Top 5 contestants are showing no remorse and talking mindlessly without knowing that they are trapped there for punishment. They left me to die, but they will pretend as if nothing bad happened after they are rescued to deceive. That's Seal. What is noticeable? It's Sungyeon mess and Sungyeon's death. Oh yeah, no, that was known before the death was announced. Yeah, Sungyeon was mentioned the producer's death before it was made public. Good job. That's what you should use to troll a troll. Just focus on anything you find suspicious. Let's go over what the troll did. Sungyeon made their first appearance at around 12:20 a.m. Sungyeon's death was made public after that. To whom did you report her death? Rescue team? Only one person was contacted. Beastars, they were the first to be contacted. Interesting, that means Beastars is the first. The official account manager, Beastars, posted the news nearly at the same time. Okay, we're on the right track. Swiss death. In the beginning of Sungyeon's post, there is a phrase, I am dead. It's weird how they're blabbering on about how they were left to die or whatever. In the sentence saying that you should be held responsible for leaving Sungyeon to die, omit the Sungyeon part. It's impossible for Sungyeon to know if she was left out to die or not. From the statement, we can safely infer that Sungyeon is projecting their own experience into this matter. SS neglection. In Sungyeon's post, there is a phrase, the survivors left me to die. Sungyeon stayed anonymous for fear of legal accusation or refutation. Sungyeon was afraid of being bashed by the public when their identity was revealed. That's why that dumb Sungyeon decided to use a fake name. A name that to give themselves some authority that was Sungyeon Shin's name. Impersonation. So Sungyeon is using Sungyeon's name out of all of those anonymous accounts. You know what I'm saying. Now it's your turn to help me. Don't make me do the whole thing. Soon came that Sungyeon's post that Plug will share. I was impressed by how you overcame the scandal between you and Hoju using her weak spots. I didn't expect you could do that. Specific time. Reading Sungyeon's post, it was found that most of the stories were concentrated in the time period between team missions and the episode 1 from the finals. Yusung seemed to be in a hurry, but the survival audition was continue as promised. The contestant ranked last will be executed at 2 a.m. Illusion. Over time, Sungyeon seems to believe more and more that they are the real Sungyeon. I really respect him for his elaborate effort to make the best out of nothing, which included stealing a precious opportunity from someone else, so another student couldn't receive the scholarship. but that was because they hadn't done their best, right? Sung-yeon slandered Gyu-huk by mentioning a scholarship issue. They criticized him for taking away someone else's opportunity in an unfair manner. He called it a false accusation that he was a betrayer, and some fans really believed him. If he thought it was unfair, he should have explained himself and resigned. Sung-yeon associated Do-yoon and Ju-young, who both had stage experience with the words betrayer and a runaway, as if personally upset about it. She hadn't talked about her past on TV yet. Many people think that's a part of her mysterious concept. You think she didn't want to, or that she couldn't talk about it? What she really liked when not on stage. Sung-yeon denounced that Hyosung could survive the audition only because Sung-yeon backed him up and Ina looked mysterious only because her shameful past had been hidden. From now on, do your self-promotion to go up in the rank. The judging standard is honesty. Confess your wrongdoings and make an apology to your fans. Punishment. Sung-yeon said that contestants would be punished for what they had done. Is this a murder threat? They demanded the contestants all sincerely repent. Interesting. Been a while, missed me, didn't you? Missed you? Yeah, right. Not so much. It's okay to be honest with me, dude. Anyway, let's continue our investigation. We'll discuss and get to the conclusion, right? He decided to call me and mention some things that disturbed him. Let me try, we're running out of time. Fader. Punishment? Sung is using Fader to urge Gyu-huk to confess his sin. Undo your wrongdoing with your death. Sounds pretty corny, huh? But what if Gyu-huk really confesses? Then what will happen? The public bites the bait, people will bash Gyu-huk like they did to Hyosung. What if he doesn't confess? Sung-yeon threatened to kill the one in last place, but killing you guys is impossible if they are typing keyboard at home. I think Sung has been just trying to humiliate, denounce, and harass you at best. See what Sung-yeon did to Hyosung, who reacted the most to them. You should present a new keyword. Disregard. Never think of it, the tone that Sung-yeon uses to criticize Ina and Hyosung is somewhat different from others. Sung-yeon blames him to be an attention-seeking seeker lacking skills and stuff. Sung-yeon is probably jealous of him and trying to hide the sense of inferiority. You know those people. Now it's time to profile this person. I believe this person is older than Hyosung and Ina. That's why Sung blows off so much steam against them. Maybe as old as Gyu-huk and Ju-young. Sung is doing their best not to get caught by changing IP and so. I think Sung-yeon failed to make a professional debut or something like that. Another possibility is this one. I heard both Hyosung and Ina didn't make it to university, so little is known about Ina, but her education background was revealed somehow. Then Sung-yeon must be feeling superior to them in terms of the educational background. Estimated age. Considering how Sung-yeon criticized Hyosung and Ina, they must be older than the two of them. Based on what they said about Gyu-huk, they might be bound Gyu-huk's age. They should present a new keyword. Where? When Sung-yeon mentions Ju-young or you, Sung-yeon is most likely to call you by the well-known titles The Runaway and Betrayer. Do-yoon and Han, the Betrayer. Sounds dope, huh? Don't think so. Anyway, the reason Sung-yeon uses those titles not only because of the show's controversial nature, but also because of their personal emotion. Maybe they thought you guys would emphasize with them. Since your indie band and Ju-young had already been in the industry for a while, Sung-yeon could have been your fan, who knows? You know about reciprocity? As much as Sung-yeon cared about their celeb, they expect the celeb to show them an equivalent amount of interest. Sometimes people feel betrayed when their celeb doesn't recognize them, right? From fan to hater, Sung-yeon seems emotionally invested with Do-yoon and Ju-young. He might be a fan of at least one of them. Keyword... jealousy. Regarding Sung-yeon's blaming Gyu-huk for his rich family background, Sung-yeon just goes going along with the public opinion, I think. But nonetheless, they couldn't fully hide their jealousy. Mr. Gyu-huk Lee, I mean, wow, it feels quite natural to attach the prefix Mr. to this rich guy. The public image of Gyu-huk is enough to arouse jealousy from many. His talent, personality, family background, etc. I'm getting jealous too. Come on, don't pretend like you aren't. Anyway, Sangyeon seems to know about the hidden story of Gyuhuk's scholarship. And Sangyeon's sarcastic tone on the criticism of the scholarship, I can sense that they are as a university student of a similar age as Gyuhuk's. Or maybe that was the only thing they could use to get on Gyuhuk's nerve. Specific time. Sangyeon disclosed some past stories of B-stars, like team missions out of Hyusung and Ina, using school violence and an affair between Hyusung and a dancer. I've checked the fact about the scandal and I found out he was simply framed by others. The scandal happened between 6th and 9th episodes. Sangyeon didn't mention anything before or after those episodes. They could be one of the staff members who worked during that period, or just wanted to harass Hyusung online. Specific time frame. The eternal affairs of B-stars that Sangyeon blabbered on about were all related to episodes 6 to 9. Maybe they participated in production of these episodes. Keyword. Impersonation. Sangyeon already dug an escape hole by disguising their IP address and using a fake name. But I think Sangyeon will miss the timing of when we to stop. Sangyeon reacted impulsively, but was not a no-brainer. Sangyeon must have learned from his own past experiences like counterblow or backfire. Accident. Anger is felt in Sangyeon's post. Sangyeon seems to talk about themselves under Sangyeon's name. What made them so resentful as to claim that they were left to die? At first, Sangyeon must have impersonated Sangyeon to cover their identity. Sangyeon seemed to so much indulge into their role by the time they were pointing at you as the next target after dealing with Hyusung. Sangyeon must be enjoying the situation where they are leading the public opinion on Fader. And while entertaining themselves in the cyber world, they are missing the timing of when to quit. That means we'll get a chance to grab that little worm. Alright, so Sangyeon already knew the producer's death before the news was out. The official Beastars account that announced her death almost at the same time. He must have kept a secret. You see what I'm trying to get here, I hope you do. Or you don't. I do know. Fantastic. The official account already knew about her death, but waited for the announcement timing of the public news. There must be a chat room or social network dedicated to Beastar staff. They must have heard about her death and been warned not to disclose it before the public broadcast. Except any staff members who weren't in the chat, the current staff members must have known about it. Early acquisition. Sangyeon mentioned Sangyeon's death as if it were the fact, even before it was reported on the news. And wait for them to have gotten that info from the scene of the accident? Interesting. That's it for now. I'll be boxing with Sangyeon again. Making Sangyeon reveal more and more while exchanging punches. Hope Sangyeon gives out a crucial clue. Are you going to provoke Sangyeon? I can hit their weak spots, such as their own ego or complex. If I keep bringing up every past issue that has been caused by the staff members, Sangyeon might strongly react to one of them. You know what that means. Which one do you think will be more effective? I'll leave that to you. Now go talk to your friends like a great detective. In the meantime, I'll be boxing with Sangyeon. Go, go, go. After finishing his stories, Duyun raised his head. Huh? Don't tell me you want to be the next Fader star. I know you're nervous because of Sangyeon, but... Duyun, why don't you save your battery? You might run out. Did you find any clues? Yeah. I'm going to track Sangyeon starting now. For that, we need to talk. Boom, boom, boom! Identifying identity. Let's go. Anything on Fader? Man, there's like not much going on right now, huh? Damn. Alright, quick save in our 2 spots. Number 11. And then number 12. Or number 2, sorry. Alright. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Just gotta check something here. Sorry, I needed to grab my phone just in case something is going on. All right, let's continue. Let's call somebody. Let's talk to everyone in Juyong will be the one. Hi, Ina. Dude, do you support that Plughole guy? What are you talking about? Plughole is wrestling with Sangyeon on Fader. I don't like his tone either. It's like a dogfight. In a sense, yeah. If Sangyeon loses, it turns out that they were just nobody. Then what are we going to do? The presence of Sangyeon is already too much. But what if Sangyeon is simply a troll? Then who the heck really attacked Hyusung? Good question. Who attacked Hyusung? And that's what we're trying to find out. We're trying to identify their identity. We're looking for 9 keywords, so I mean, it's not gonna be that bad. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely not that bad. There's just so much talking. What do you think about Plughole and Fader? Well, he's on Sangyeon now, so I guess he's on our side whether intended or not. What's your opinion on him? He could be just another internet troll. Rather than Sangyeon though, isn't he? You never know. Let's assume Sangyeon backs off and disappears. People will applaud the new victor. And? Plughole could take Sangyeon's place and start attacking us as his next target. His posts are no different from Sangyeon's, and they both use anonymous accounts. At least for now, he is fighting for us. Let's just hope that he doesn't change his target. You know, that's true. I was about to try to be on Plughole's side and be like, oh no, he's definitely on our side. No, no one trusts him, and that's kind of fair. Alright, that's completely fair. Alright, phone call with the Jooyoung. I just like her hair, her demeanor. I think we're getting closer to figuring out who Sangyeon is. People are trying hard to find out on Fader. This Plughole guy is very eager to challenge Sangyeon. Looks like he's trying to expose Sangyeon. He just wants attention, just like Sangyeon. How many times can you say Sangyeon? They must be thinking this is some kind of entertainment. Whatever's happening in here is just entertainment to them. We're the protagonists, but we're not really in the show. Them, we're just characters fabricated for the show. And we can see what's happening out there only through Fader. But things are way worse in here than out there. If Sangyeon gets exposed, what do you think will happen next? Good question. This will be the one to do. I just want to check our collection right now while we're at it. Call-wise. Buying method. Man, there's so many different calls that we have still. Yeah, there's still a lot of calls, and there's these two. Okay. 48% of the phone calls done. Images, we were at 12. In Solitude, Yuhuk, Protest, Yuhuk, Rough Time. Attachments. We're at 63 attachments. And documents, we've only got these 2 documents, which is more than we thought. Keywords, we got a root. We have hit 100% on, which is good. And then hopefully we can finish a route number 5 by today. That's the goal. Number 4. Looks like we have one more Jooyoung rapport, one more Gyuhuk rapport. 2 more Ina. And then a few seals. It's like profile. We're at 70% done with Dooyoon. Profile not acquired. There's some gaps missing, but I'm guessing it's from other stuff. But we're at 65 with profile, so not bad. Yuhuk. Getting more profiles. And then our little buddy over here we don't know too much about. Let's give it a shot. Quick save. What time is it right now? 1:14? So this will probably be the last set of conversations. I know it's gonna be pretty short, but we got to I got work, so. Estimated age. You're saying their provoking tone, they're not middle-aged. They masked their IP and tried to do some doxing. Even stole a photo from the cloud drive. I think you're right about their age. Jung looked down at her watch grimly. S. Sung-yeon is very wicked. They know their remarks are provoking a certain level of enthusiasm from the public. Immersed in their own game, they lost the chance to exit without trouble. And we're trying to take advantage of the situation to get rid of S. Sung-yeon. We should be able to narrow down the suspect pool if we keep talking. Slowly but surely will happen, I'm sure. From fan to hater. A grumbling former fan of beloved or masquerade, huh? Most of my fans turned against me. Same here, virtually all of the fans turned against me after I made it to the finals. The two of them let out sighs while staring at each other. I'm having mixed feelings. Were we even that popular? And to think that S. Sung-yeon could be one of the former fans. I'm suddenly depressed. What about you? I'm not thrilled. I don't have a clue either. That's a little depressing. Knowing that one of your former fans might turn into a hater and want to kill you all. Crazy. Specific time frame. I guess it was from the beginning of Super Week to the finals. Do you remember any conspicuous event or episode? Regarding the staff or contestants or about me? Do you just want me to tell you anything? Yes, for now. Jing paused to think while rubbing her chin. There was a rival mission during episode 6. Masquerade barely passed the rival mission, and the show made it look like I had a serious conflict with Yuha. I was surprised because it was different from what I saw. They portrayed me as a hysterical maniac. Kyoko was also portrayed as someone who tried to go along with me but talked behind my back. In reality, it was just an intense discussion that resulted from our difference in opinions. Even after we came to an agreement, they made it look like we were still on bad terms with each other. Stage conflicts. In episode 6, the show aired a flashback of Ji-young and made it look like there was a quarrel between her and Gyu-hyuk. It was nothing serious, but it was edited different. Interesting. Interesting. Accident. An incident where someone got neglected unfairly? Everyone here was busy tending to themselves. Right, and things progressed very rapidly. On the other hand, I can't help but wonder why. Ji-young quietly shook her head. Ji-young suddenly opened his mouth at Ji-young. Everyone accepts the reason differently. Ji-young fell silent at Ji-young's remark. That's true. Was I being selfish? No, I've also been through a lot and have done many things. The reason was different each time. Just crossed my mind. I'll take what you just said and think. Thinking time. We're gonna figure out all the stuff for the acquisition. It could have been a lucky guess. It's a problem if it wasn't, because that means they acquired the information before the announcement. We provided the information to the Beastars personnel only. Do you think they immediately relayed the news to the rescue team? With that, Ji-young let out a sigh. There's no way of knowing it from here. I'm trying to speculate based on the circumstances and possibilities. We don't know if truth awaits us at the end of it. But it should be better than just sitting here all frustrated. Ji-young, I hope you're not evil, because like I'm getting some weird evil vibes from you. They paired me up with Gyu-hyuk. What was the song for the team mission? Come what may? You remember well. Gyu-hyuk didn't give any opinion at the time. I'm sure Gyu-hyuk had his own ideas, but he stuck to mine too much. He was giving his own only when I almost pressured him to. That might have looked like a quarrel. I was actually enjoying our conversation. I mean, it was a normal conversation. You guys are just having a normal conversation. It's not like you could always laugh and be happy when talking to someone. Gyu-hyuk shouldn't have lowered himself like that. It's one of the reasons why I provoked him a bit. I just wanted to know what he really had in mind. Yeah, he later thanked me for that. Ji-young let out a low sigh. I caught them trying to show something different than the quarrel we had. Something else? The gossip that circulated on Fader earlier. I found out they were trying to add that to the episode. That's harsh. At that time, I went to confront Sung-yeon myself. I angrily demanded her to give up on that, so she dropped it eventually. Complaint. The show tried to broadcast Ji-young's love scandal without her consent. She had a quarrel with the producer. Eventually, her dating rumor was taken off the table, but her panic attacks made it to the air. I was so surprised back then. Dang, you didn't even give me a keyword. That's interesting. Okay. Alright, Gyu-hyuk, let's go. You assume they're a college student? That sounds a little vague. I can only speculate for now. I don't know much, but I think there are many college students among the staff members. The whole place got quiet once the vacation season was over. Gyok briefly fell silent as he rubbed his chin. I don't have anything else to say on this matter. You should ask Seal about the issues concerning the staff. I'm sorry I couldn't help you. Oh, you're good, Gyuhuk. I know we're going to be talking to Seal a lot this time. But I want to talk to you guys first. It could be an old fan. Yeah, either an old fan of Ji-Young's or mine. Well, I never made my debut, so... Actually, most of my former fans turned against me. That's because of the misunderstanding. Is that what you believe? What choice do I have? You saved my life. I will always believe you. You're embarrassing me. What do you mean? I've always been like this. When are you going to stop? Probably never. Gyuhuk's just a good guy. Like, these two are great, even though I think Ji-Young might potentially be evil. Hina just doesn't care about anything, and Seal's just depresso espresso all the time. Like, all the time. Did the finals begin with episode 9? Episode 6 was about team missions. You got some good memory. Can't forget because that's when I made it to the finals. Anything that comes to your mind? Let's see. I had no time to care about other matters because things were so hectic back then. By then, everyone was slinging mud on their own. Oh, the story about his father. Probably. That's because people found out about your father, right? Oh, shit. That must have been the beginning of the preliminaries. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Gyuhuk closed his mouth. An awkward silence filled the space between them. It's all right. You had a lot on your plate at the time. And you made it to the finals after overcoming your hardships. Jesus, dude. Load it. Identifying their identity. Yeah, if I didn't have work today, I would definitely be streaming this more. Try to do some long streams of this game. Things really got heated at the end of the preliminaries. Not just us, but also for the viewers. At the end, we were nearly suffocating one another. Yeah, we were exhausted both mentally and physically. I knew what to expect from the beginning, but it was a different kind of incident. Gyuhuk scratched the tip of his nose. However, managed to make it to the finals. And see where it has gotten us now. Yeah, buried alive. That's where it's gotten you now. Accident. If they thought something was unfair, were they criticized for something they didn't do or blamed more than they deserved? Is that why they're venting on like that on Fader? I just think it's plausible. An incident involving the staff. Or to narrow it down. Gyuhuk and Doyoon faced each other lost in thought. I remember the accident when our profiles got mixed up. It was clearly a mess. People started a boycott of B-Stars and it became a trend to complain directly to the official B-Stars account. They missed the basic numbers, which means the data wasn't being managed properly. Everyone saw a comment accusing the show of fabricating the number of votes. Yeah, that's the only thing that comes to mind at the moment. Profile accident. An accident where the profiles of the final contestants were mixed up. Viewers reacted angrily to the incident. That's true, that did happen, and we did know about that actually earlier on. That was one of the first things we were told about. At first, I thought we were just receiving many complaints. But as time went on, things got more serious and intense. The show announced that the youngest staff member was responsible for the accident. Yeah, the guy who got blamed. They chose a clear target. Things were heating up around the show. Jiren tapped her watch. Found out later and became afraid of Fader. Were you okay before that? When I was in Beloved, Fader wasn't that popular. I tried to avoid crowded places when I was not working. Jiren stopped rubbing her wrist and lowered it slowly. Anyways, I said something when the accident broke out. We were all surprised. But I should have tried to understand the context before saying something. The situation was already bad enough. What if it is the Fader dude? Wait, what if it's the staff member who got blamed for all the profile mix-ups and everything? And it's like Seal's younger brother or something like that, and Seal's doing this as a hate to them. That could be it. That'd be interesting. There must be a way. They ran their mouth even before the announcement was made. They might have gotten lucky with bluffing. You're right, they were just guessing. The two of them fell silent while staring at each other. Well, we clearly made some progress with this. We weren't wasting our time after all. We can at least determine which direction we should head towards. They clearly just happened to randomly guess that the producer was dead. Good for you. Stage cut. Oh, you're talking about that time. When they broadcast the episode where they made it look like there was a serious argument between Ji-Young and me. I think it was during episode 6. Gyuhuk scratched the back of his head. I was somewhere subdued because I wanted to keep the peace with her. It was a mistake, though. I mean, you behave with a lot of respect. You're fine, dude. You did show respect. Consideration is not a bad thing. Thank you for looking at it that way, but it was my fault. I might have appeared indifferent by lowering myself blindly to everything. Oh, I hadn't thought that far. King also thought it was wrong. Our discussion might have sounded like an argument. And they aired it? No, actually, they just edited 2 different scenes together with that one. They were a different context, but they somehow made it look like we were throwing punches at each other. So they highlighted the episodes by distorting what actually happened. That's one. I realized how truth could be distorted by ill-intentioned edits. Ill-intentioned edits. Jiyoung and Gi-hook were portrayed as if they had a conflict in episode 6, but it was actually a result of evil edits. The editing is terrible! Who would have thought? I just want to make sure that that's it. Apparently not. Oh god, my nose. So that was stage conflicts, right? So apparently, if we don't want to lose our sanity, we do the left side. It was your fault to a certain extent. Lowering yourself blindly doesn't mean that you're respecting the other person. Right, Jiyoung also thought it was not right. Our discussion might have sounded like an argument. They aired it? Yeah. So that's it, just we get it without losing our sanity. It's the wrong button. Profile accident. The public opposition was quite severe at the time. Built-up anger towards Beastars finally exploded. They also suspected the production crew of intentionally changing the profiles in favor of some contestants. The company then saved its neck by creating a scapegoat. I heard it was the youngest staff member who uploaded the profile data. The production staff responded quickly, fired him first, and then made an official statement. Gi-hook spoke again after a brief pause. But the staff member was pretty well known in the Fader community. He wasn't as well known as Sung-yeon, though. Do you think he could be the one? I heard some of the staff members disclose their workplaces or job titles on Fader. They all seem to get along when things are going well, but things get ugly if an accident occurred, like the profile one. Some of them even ended up deleting their accounts. I overheard something like that several times. Personal account issues. Some staff members had to close their accounts because they faced public criticism soon after they revealed their involvement in Beastars. You have contradicting identities and stuff. Stretching time. Thank you, Blossy. Back. Oh shit, that's done. Cool. Good old stretching. Thank you. Personal account issues. Company has been warning us for some time. They probably advised against posting things about the company because it would make everyone suffer. Make everyone suffer? That sounds quite bothersome. There are more Fader accidents this season compared to the past seasons. The show was gaining popularity and they had to be more cautious. About what, though? Jeez, Blossy literally said, your name earlier and you completely ignored Blossy. How rude. Jiyoung gently cleared her throat. Suppose somebody revealed their identity as a Beastars worker or contestant and trolled around like Sung-yeon does. The show would ultimately have to deal with any trouble eventually. But the person who caused the trouble would also be held responsible. That would really make everyone suffer. Kinda makes sense, but the warning message itself was too intimidating. They should have drawn a line or something. It's like they were forcing us to stop using Fader altogether. Stop using Fader! Stop using Fader! Personal account! Come to think of it, it could have happened to you as well. The official account manager came to see me out of nowhere. Oh, he also came to see me. Ian quietly nodded. He told me he was being replaced after he got caught up in an issue and how he thought it was unfair. I'd never seen this guy before, so I was a bit taken aback. He did that to you too? Yeah, he came out of nowhere and said the same thing. So you calmed him down? So you calmed him down? He might have had his own reasons. Fuck. No, to be honest, I was a bit flushed. Why wouldn't I be? A total stranger suddenly came up and began to talk to me. Gi-hook hunched his shoulders as if recollecting the moment. I'd be surprised too if a stranger suddenly approached me and told me about a personal story. I wouldn't know what to say. Same here. After being replaced by another staff member, he whined to contestants whom he just met that his reassignment wasn't fair. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Dude's just like, God, I'm losing my job. People suck. Blah. Like, jeez. Weren't you surprised? It's like a total stranger came to see you out of nowhere. Was indeed. Ian recollected his memory as he watched, Huck hunching his shoulders. At the time, I didn't know what to say. He just came out of nowhere. Just, same. Fair. Man, the amount of congestion today, it's not fun. So not fun. This is why we blame cheese. Alright, Ina, it's your time. They should be taking life a bit more seriously, having a degree and all. Why create all this mess in the situation? And they mock me for being a dropout? What the hell? We're just speculating. What's so special about graduating from college nowadays, huh? So what I'm guessing is that this is not enough to guess anything. Ina put her hands around her waist after a brief pause. It drives me nuts though. Graduating from college wasn't a requirement for joining the audition, so why are they harassing me? I told you just a guess. So why did you make a guess that would piss me off? If it's real, I can never forgive them. I'm just speculating. I never graduated college too. Come to think of it, they hired staff members sometime in between. A whole bunch of them came in and helped us with various things. And they all quit at the same time when school started up again. I know, what about them? They looked amazed. It was their first time seeing a celebrity and broadcasting company and all their related facilities. What celebrity? Ina sighed while scratching the side of her head. You have no interest in anyone, do you? Jiyoung, of course. Oh, I remember now. She was a beloved member when those guys were in high school. I think many of them were her fans. They cheered and screamed as soon as they saw her. They even asked for her autograph and took pictures with her. It looked like a fan meeting. So you do remember. Just seeing them made me feel happy. Beloved fan. Many of the newly hired staff members were fans of Beloved. Some even cheered after meeting Jiyoung in person. That's cute. That's cute. Hey, Jiyoung. We hear that some people were fans of yours. I was surprised at first. I was happy someone would remember that time and welcome me. I wished only good things happened, but... Something happened? It was my mistake. He wanted to hear the stories from the past, so I told him a little. From the past? What are you talking about? About the concept of Beloved. The concept of Beloved? It was a cute group. At first, its concept was to be chic, but it had to be changed right before the debut. At the time, that was gaining popularity. Must have been a misjudgment. I was confused, but okay with it. Because it was a debut that we had been longing for. Sudden change. And you can see, failing to identify a market trend, amended the concept of the girl group right before making their debut. She was just happy that she could be on the stage. I don't see anything wrong with that story, though. The next day, what I said was posted on the official Beastars website in Fader. I must have immediately known who was responsible. My boss called me up and I was reprimanded. I've learned to watch my mouth ever since. I answered his question because I was glad to see him. Leaks. Jiyoung was reprimanded for answering the staff's question without a second thought because it was posted in various websites. Damn, so one of your fans just decided to use the information against you? Rude. Leaks. I began to watch my mouth. Things had gotten awkward and other contestants became quiet. Staff members overheard many things while working at the studio. I was just answering his questions. They even posted a notification for everyone involved in the show. I never thought I'd be the first one. The person who spread it was at fault. It's not your fault, Jiyoung. Whoever spread it is at fault. You only answered somebody's questions. I'm also responsible. I shouldn't have run my mouth. Thankfully, I was given a warning and received no penalties. But what about the staff member who wrote the post? Was he okay too? Jiyoung wore a puzzled look while nodding her head. But in the end, the accident happened. Accident? By the way, which staff member spread the post? It was the youngest staff member. Oh, the guy who got fired after the profile accident? Right, even before the accident, he often wrote posts about contestants on the website on Fader. He was probably fired because of that. Spread, the youngest staff member caused trouble by posting rumors that he had heard from contestants on the Beastars website in Fader. Hold up. Wait a second. Hold up. Hold on. After we do Jiyoung's thing again, I have something to point out. So for the leaks, learned your lesson. Learned your lesson. And the issue was resolved before it got worse. I was given a warning and that was it. But the staff member wrote the post, it was the youngest guy. Okay, so what I was going to point out is the fact that this youngest staff member, like, a lot of signs are pointing to the youngest staff member for being the one kind of responsible, but I'd like to point out, we still believe, if we go here, estimated age is about college age. So the youngest staff member, unless they're in college, are probably younger than, say, like Ju-young and Seal. Or Ju-young and Hyusung. Or whoever is in high school. Whoever's youngest, whatever. That's what I'm thinking. So I don't think it's the youngest staff member, maybe. I saw some of the staff members who came to see Ju-young. Weren't you also visited by some of your fans? Only briefly in the beginning. The band wasn't that popular, and there was also an incident during the finals. You're being modest. I was really nervous when I first saw you and Ju-young. Both of you had performed on stage before, so I could feel the difference. I didn't think I'd make it to the finals. That's not something I want to hear from you. I'm actually complimenting you. Well, thank you then. And that's why I want you to cheer up. I know what you mean. Let's pull ourselves together. Right, it's not over until we make it out of here safely. And once we do, it's going to be a new beginning for us. A noob. It's a new day, a new dawn. It's a new life. Leaks. Oh, unfortunate. I'm sure Ju-young said it because she was glad to see them. She would have never expected that it would get late, but I guess it didn't lead to a serious problem. I think it was a bit risky. It could have prompted more serious comments. I don't think she would have fallen for it, but she could have let her guard down since it was a question from the staff. Yoek suddenly changed the topic as if something had just crossed his mind. Have you ever felt it? Even the staff members preferred certain contestants over the others? I did, especially during the finals. They seemed cranky toward their favorite contestants' competitors. People that started more recently seem way more unprofessional. True. That's what new hires are like. Specific time frame. That's when my snobby character began to gain attention. I'm super weak up to the finals. Did any of the staff members stand out at the time? Stand out at the time? You must be out of your mind. Do you even know how many people frequented that place? All you have to say is that you don't know. Ina crossed her arms and shook her head. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. The scope is too broad. We need to narrow it down. God, Ina, why are you like so mean for no reason? Like, Seal's just depressed man, but Ina, you're like just snobby. I hate it. Excellent. Sung-yeon blames us for something? Can't even imagine since they're not revealing their identity. We can't apologize just because they're throwing a fit. We don't even know what the problem is. Do you remember anything that might be considered an accident? An accident involving the staff? Well, but there were many accidents involving the staff. Does any one of them comes to mind? There were different accidents, serious ones, minor ones, some that pissed me off. Duyun broke the silence by asking her again. You don't remember the details? Pushing me like that won't help me remember things, okay? Was there anything else? I might remember something if I hear something that reminds me. I'm not really good at remembering things from the past. Is that, I mean, it's not even the fact, so that's something I actually want to point out. Ina, like, there's so little known about her past, but I do truthfully think that it's because she does not have a good memory. I think she literally has, like, short-term memory loss or long-term memory loss or something like that, where she actually can't remember, and that's why they have to make up her story. That'd be interesting. The things we told the production crew must have leaked before it was announced? I'm guessing they leaked it before making an official announcement. From Beastar's production crew to Sung-yeon. Well, you gave me an answer. Thanks. I did? What was my answer? You really don't know? Ina scratched her head with a baffled look on her face. The answer is asking Seal about the staff matters. Well, you gave me an answer. Thanks. That's not the response I was expecting. It's not the answer? Yeah. She pretty much just said, hey, you should talk to Seal. And it's like, we're gonna talk to Seal anyway? Like, I just want to talk to Seal, but I want to ask you about everything. That's 3 in a row that has done bad stuff. I do remember. What about it? Weren't you going to talk about Sung-yeon? Is that also related to something? I'm trying to go over what happened during episode 6 to 9. It was clearly episode 6. Ina fiddled with her fingers on her chin. We should talk to Ju-young or Yu-hak directly. I didn't have many interactions with them during episode 6. Same here. Then let's talk about something else. I'm sorry, Ina. I'm just trying to go through all the options so that way we all can at least understand what's going on. Profile X. It was crazy. I mean, mixing up the profiles is one thing, but I can't believe nobody checked them before they were posted. It was brought to their attention by some random user. Things weren't all that pleasant because the finals were just around the corner. They worsened things by attempting to gloss over the issue. The two of them quietly stared at each other. And they looked pathetic when they tried to shirk all the blame. We didn't pay any attention because we didn't want to be distracted. The production crew didn't provide us with any details as to how they handled the issue. Technically, it's their responsibility. Anyhow, considering the cause, development, and the conclusion, it was one of the most serious accidents that ever happened in Beastars. One of the most serious accidents that ever happened in Beastars. You were all buried alive right now. You are buried alive for hours. Yeah, okay, screwing up the profile information. Oh my gosh. They said that my chest size was like this big, but it was actually this big. Oh no, my height is this big, but I'm actually taller. They said I'm fat, but I'm not. Like, you know, come on, work with me here. Everyone wants to talk about their own story, right? And being a member of a certain organization doesn't forbid you from using Fader either. The problem is that using Fader could lead to more accidents. The problem lies with the management, not Fader. Anything in particular that comes to mind? I remember the accident where the official account was mistakenly used for posting inappropriate comments. Show's official account manager made a huge mistake. That kind of job is hard to avoid criticism, especially after when you made a major mistake like that. Of course, he was supposed to be the official account manager. He was actually severely criticized for making that mistake. He sighed deeply. It's the account for posting announcements. Imagine how many people saw the message. There was such an explosion of criticism. He explained that he mixed up the official account with his personal account. People didn't buy it. Everyone thought that there must have been another reason. By then, I couldn't watch it anymore. Complaints. The official account manager had made a mistake and was blamed by many for it. His poor explanation was largely ignored. People demanded a more reasonable explanation. I mean, I guess that makes sense. That's correct. Oh, there's nothing like really important to really worry about. Sorry, I was like double checking to make sure I'm not missing anything. Beloved fan. Come to think of it, he was one of the fans. Who was he? He was given the role of managing the official account later. Ina clicked her tongue while looking at the Union's face. Why do you look so lost? It's like you don't care about anything other than yourself. At the time, I had Masquerade to worry about. I see, I guess that makes sense. The problem is that he played favorites with the official account. Official account manager. The official Beastars account manager was a big fan of Beloved, which we already knew? We already knew that. Why are you telling us things that we already knew? And did you know the official account manager loved you? I was embarrassed at the time. He often used the official account to indicate that he was a fan of Beloved. It was controversial among the Fader users. That's only natural since this is an audition show. But then I couldn't step forward and ask him to stop. Her gaze dropped to the floor. Jiyoung put her hands together and raised her head again. In the end, I had to go see him myself, but then he didn't listen to you. He thought I was just being modest or thankful. Maybe I didn't make myself clear because I was feeling embarrassed. I didn't think he was doing that for me or Beloved. He just seemed obsessed with his role. He just wanted to post all the things. Everything. I understand that staff members can be fans too, but there's no need to be open about it. In Jiyoung's case, it was one of the Beloved's fans. Then he might hold a grudge against Jiyoung. Not really, he said he was glad to see her in person. Why would he attack her if he liked her so much? Yuha quietly rubbed his chin. Why? What if he was lying? Maybe he was glad to see her in the audition because he thought he could harm her. What? There are no clues to indicate that. I know, but everyone lies. That's true, and also the fact is, if this is the youngest staff member and then he gets fired because of like what happened, it's very, very likely that like he would retaliate because Jiyoung didn't step in to help out. Excuse me. Leaks. It was unfair for her, to be honest. She was just being kind to her fan. What is she supposed to do? Just ignore him? I think that itself was a problem. She didn't tell him so that he could spread it all over the internet. Oh shit. What? There's for June. I mean, she should have been more careful. You should have been more careful. How can she be sure if someone's really her fan? You have a point. She's been quite careful about this since she had some experience with it before, but I guess she let her guard down temporarily. A staff member is in the circle. Ina lowered her gaze. Maybe he didn't mean to screw up things at all. Yeah, he could really be a former fan, as he claimed. Maybe he wanted to brag about talking with Ju-young, although the outcome wasn't pretty. I'm just sad that she had become quieter ever since the accident. Yeah, ever since that fan posted the thing, did a douchebag move. The account accident was ridiculous. He used the official account to share negative posts towards Hyusung. Not just a few, but a whole bunch of posts. Ina frantically scratched the back of her head. He also been monitoring Fader with his personal device. He had been switching between the official account and his personal account when writing posts. And he forgot to switch accounts when writing the post. That sounds horrible. He deleted the post right away, but it was too late. People started being with Hyusung's fans reacting crazily. It should not have happened, like straight up. That shouldn't have happened. He was open about being a beloved fan even when he was on the official account. I know, what would other people think? They thought B-Stars intended to shun Hyusung while supporting Ju-young. Ju-young broke the silence while nodding. Looking at it that way, I believe this was the most serious accident. But surprisingly, the accident was all wrapped up after they posted the statement of apology. The official account manager was replaced instead of getting fired. That's why timing is important. He got caught and punished, but survived nonetheless. While the other guy got fired immediately after messing up the profiles. The account manager made the mistake of sharing a post critical of Hyusung while logged into the official account. Although he quickly deleted the post, it was too late. Wait, didn't the account manager... The account manager and the dude with the profiles are the same person. I thought we already discussed this. They seem more disgusted than other people. Any other... I can't speak. Wow, I just fucked up language. Any eligibility requirements, remember? Like age or educational background? Something that would make them feel that they better than those two? College students have good educational backgrounds. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there were so many of college kids. They work during college breaks and quit before their new school semester begins. Which episodes were they then? Considering what was filmed, it should be from episode 6 to 7. Still stopped talking and gave a smirk. By the way, that kind of puts me in the category too. I'm older than Hyusung. I graduated from university, although I have no sense of inferiority. Still hate Hyusung. Am I also a suspect? I don't hate Ina, at least. Still, forget about Hyusung. What about Ina? I know you don't like Hyusung, but I'm not sure about Ina. That alone proves that you're not S-Sungyeon. You know me then. Of course not. No way I'd hate Ina. But I actually disliked Hyusung. You've been supporting us from the beginning. I don't think you disliked Hyusung enough to hurt him. Exactly, I'm not the type to hurt anyone. Anyway, our suspect pool is too big at the moment. Undergraduate staff. University student part-timers usually quit work when a new semester begins. They probably work there until episode 7. A few part-timers still remain. I still think it could be you, Seal. Excuse me. Undergraduate staff. There were staff members other than those who quit when school started again. They joined the staff at around the same time, but worked longer before quitting. People who quit voluntarily, or including both? Ji-young frowned, trying to trace back through her memory. One was the youngest staff member who got fired after the profile accident. Was there someone else? There was a guy who quit before the finals. I can't remember the reason, but I think it was something personal. How do you know that? Sometimes I exchange small talk with the staff members. I could never do that. I still get nervous when I'm on stage. But I don't talk to them anymore. I've been through a lot. From now on, only those two come to mind. Deserters. Except student part-timers, the only staff members who left B-Stars were the staff member who quit before the finals and the member who got fired after the profile accident. Interesting. Who's dude number 2? He was able to avoid this collapse accident because he had quit already. How ironic is that? There'd be no end to it if you look at it that way. Yeah, I'm just frustrated. Ji-young raised her head and looked up at the ceiling on the other side. But I have no regrets about being in the top 5. What about you, Do-yoon? Are you happy with where you stand after overcoming such a mess? Oh, was the question inappropriate? Ji-young lightly patted Do-yoon on her shoulder. I asked because you said there would be no end to it. Don't let it bother you. I almost lost it after making an unnecessary remark. That bad, huh? Don't worry, we'll get out of here. Will we though? I don't know if we're gonna actually get rescued at this point. Like, we're still stuck on down here and it's been like ages. It's been ages since we've been trapped. All we're doing is trying to find S. Sung-yeon. Undergraduate staff. If he wasn't planning on taking time off school, he could only work for a short term. I also worked a lot of part-time jobs to buy musical instruments. And after that, I had to work to buy bigger pieces for my band. What about your school tuition? I just fooled around, didn't really care anything about the band after I graduated. You were into music, that's not irrelevant stuff. Yuhak lightly patted you. You knew what you were doing. Was all I could do. I had no other talents. Keeping your goal unchanged is not as easy as it sounds. Easier said than done, to be honest. He inserted his last words. People usually waste time on thinking only. There's nothing wrong with being careful. I think it takes more courage to actually take action. I also took my time while pondering on what to do with my life. It really sucked. Yeah, I just want to be sure. Yeah. I'm just double checking that there's no, like, actual increase. Deserters! So they've been sorted out too, huh? Someone got fired during the profile accident. But why hold a grudge against us? We had nothing to do with it. We pointed out the profile mistakes, but knew nothing about what happened afterwards. Most people knew about it after a long time. That's true. The people responsible avoided blame, and only one person got fired. That's about it. Yoa quietly nodded. That can't be a reason for harassing us. You never know, like, I think it's the youngest staff member, but also I think the youngest staff member is also the account manager. So, like, I'm a little confused there, but I think we're fine. Ina! Man, look at all this stuff. Undergraduate staff. They were quick to arrive and quick to leave. They looked excited about being a part of the show when they first started. Companies seemed to have given the short-term contract workers too much work to do, and they were soon exhausted. Even if they had to go back to school, some could have remained. I guess it was too difficult for them. They had nothing but trouble to look forward to, even if they decided to stay. Ina fell silent after making a bitter remark. Anyway, safety comes first. That applies to us as well. I know it's a mess right now, but we can get out. I'm having a ball here talking crap about S. Sung-yeon. Although I'm not sure if I'll be able to figure out their identity. Don't worry, Ina. We'll figure out their identity together. We'll be the bestest of friends. Deserter. Many staff members came and left. Besides the staff members who quit before their schools began again, 2 members remained until episode 9. Are you saying one of them is S. Sung-yeon? I'm just speculating. We need to go over the details. Ina gulped. I'm curious, but at the same time, I don't really want to know. I feel the same. But if this continues, we'll keep being fooled by S. Sung-yeon. That's true, we'll be stuck here for at least a few more hours. Although it would be better if S. Sung-yeon gets caught before that happens. Ina grabbed the watch on her wrist. But considering how things work around there, it seems very unlikely. Even if we come to a closure, it would still worry me. Girl is just hella worried. Alright, Seal. Time to talk about everything. Are you saying they could be a former fan? The way I see it, they feel betrayed, either by Ju-young or me. In your opinion, what's the reason? Maybe we didn't meet their expectations or side with them. Staff members are also human, so of course some of us prefer certain contestants over the others. Being a fan of someone is a private matter, so that's that. Seal stopped talking and gave a smirk. You're a fool if you're expecting anything from a contestant. Could have been mistaken since we see each other every day, but we're from 2 different worlds to begin with, right? Consider this very moment. We're all buried in here together, but no one gives a crap about me. You're openly accusing one of the staff of being S. Sung-yeon. I'm just glad you aren't saying that I'm S. Sung-yeon. Of course not. Not right now, but I will see. If this continues, what would be the end result? Listen, I mean, here's the thing. Do-yoon is not saying that you're S. Sung-yeon, but Katafi is saying that you're S. Sung-yeon. I want that to be known. Alright? I want that to be known. I want that to be documented. I still think Seal is S. Sung-yeon. I'm not going to say it out loud to him, but I think that's the case. During Super Week? Yes, what happened in episodes 6 to 9 have been mainly discussed. It was very likely that it's someone who worked during that time period. Only that time period was covered because we were too into criticizing Hyusung's past, right? And there are so many staff members who worked during that time. We hurriedly hired so many new recruits after the preliminaries because we were understaffed. Although many of them quit soon after, most of them were hired during episodes 6 to 9. Their numbers amounted to about half of the total B-Star staff for the season. Can we narrow it down? Do any of those new recruits stand out? My memory is vague. It was during a college break, so we hired a lot of college students as contract workers. It's not like I hired or interviewed any of them myself. I can't remember every single one of them. New part-timers. They hired new staff members after the third preliminary round finished. Most of them were university students on vacation. That's great. I'm proud. Guess what that means? We get to talk to everyone again. New part-timers. They all quit when school started again. The place looked deserted. I never realized when the place was packed. It takes that many people to support the show. Feels new, huh? I didn't realize it either when I was in Beloved. I guess I only focused on myself while performing on stage. I wasn't much different. It was my first time working with so many staff members. Happiness! I guess we both lacked experience in self-discipline. Ji-young's weak smile suddenly faded. But to imagine Sung-yeon could have been standing among those people? It kind of gives me chills. Well, you didn't know it at the time, but yeah, it's possible. What about new part-timers? That's when we begin to see lots of new faces. Yeah, the place was packed for a while. Yeah, only for a while. Most of them were all gone after a few months. They only work during their school break. But they also meet the conditions, and that means... Yu-Huk crossed his arms after pausing for a minute. We don't have enough information. I think we should question Seal for additional information. You might feel uncomfortable. This does concern the staff. Yep, because the staff are suspect number one, right, Seal? Hyena. Yeah, they were so young. They look so much older only after a week, though. It was an eventful time. After the third round of preliminaries, the scale of the show got bigger and they were running behind schedule. So they hired college kids on vacation. The college kids were given an opportunity to get a glimpse of the broadcasting company while working their butts off. Ji-young raised his head while listening to Ina. Work their butts off? Yeah, the manager could... I understand now. I could easily tell the kids were overburdened with work. They're college students. They get used to it. College just gives you a butt ton of work. That's the thing. What about the accident, buddy? Any mistakes made by the staff? We were talking about the guy responsible for the social media part. Something about holding a grudge or being neglected. Seal stared into the air for a minute, but soon regained focus. In fact, there were a few incidents. Who doesn't use Fader these days? Although, you're one of the few people who seldom use Fader. That's why information has often been leaked by the staff. A leak? For example, using personal accounts to upload photos while working on the show, or leaking the recording schedule and rankings and so on. If people discover the personal accounts of Beastar staff members, hardcore fans keep monitoring them. I heard they have been coaxing new info out of one of the more gullible members, or even more offering to pay for new info. An experienced staff member would have been careful, but there were also short-term workers. There was another training session for the entire staff after the preliminaries. It was for conveying the message to the staff that they should be careful with their personal accounts. Has the number of incidents decreased since then? Yeah, but not completely. Fader usage. Most young staff members are using it already, but after several incidents, they were retrained not to use the private Fader account to leak info about the show. I mean, thanks, Seal, for all the information, but now I gotta talk to everyone again. You don't have a Fader account, do you? I created an account when I made it to the finals. Actually, it was created by someone else, so I had nothing to do with it. That means you only have the official account created for each contestant. It bothers me because I have to keep looking at it, like right now. Ji-young shook her wrist with a bitter look on her face. So you know what it feels like, having to constantly refresh the Fader page. Actually, the vocalist in my band was passionate about Fader. He also managed our band account. He was just doing his job in the beginning, but he got hooked on it later on. Yeah, as long as you don't overdo it. Like Hyu-sung? Like Hyu-sung. Ji-young stopped talking and looked down at her watch. Sung-yeon will have to take responsibility for overdoing it. True. Also, you know, Hyu-sung is the one who used the Fader the most out of all of us. How about you? Do you like using Fader? There are many Fader users indeed. And that's why there are many Fader accidents. Many of the Beastar staff also seem to use Fader personally. Accidents happen with the contestants and the staff members. But there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself on Fader, right? But it's a problem if they go too far with excessive information. That's how they gain more attention. Yu-Huk nodded after a brief pause. Yo, more rapport, that's great. I guess that's how you end up giving away more information. Some people enjoy other people's attention. We're not that different from them. We already gave away lots of information. Right, including the information which we didn't agree to provide. Yeah, maybe. Sung-yeon could be one of them. Losing access to your privacy. Welcome to the world. Fader usage. I guess you don't have a personal account, do you? Nope. Do-yoon is pretty much illiterate, for the most part. Excuse me. You know me well, I only have the one provided by Beastars. That was quick. So who posted messages on your band account then? Who sucked, the vocalist in my band? I don't even know the password to the band's account. That's why it sounded cheesy. Ina shrugged her shoulders after a brief pause. Do you have a personal account? I made one the first time I accessed Fader. I barely used it though because the production crew told me to be careful when using it. I'm surprised you followed their advice. You didn't know? I live by the rules. Do you though? Like, do you? By the way, Seal, I still have to ask you 12 things. The fuck, I pressed the wrong button. I still have to ask you 11 things. Early acquisition. Clearly, it was Beastars who leaked Sungyeon's accident for the first time. As Sungyeon ran their mouth off as if Sungyeon was really dead. At the time, there wasn't even an official announcement yet. I guess the information could have been circulated internally. There's so many group chats that the staff use. There are different types of staff members, so it's hard to keep account of them. There's also a chat room for former staff members. Are some of these chat rooms used for work purposes? Of course, for emergency contacts. Since we have some part-timers, not everyone was given a company email, you know? Do you think they also received the information provided by us? Still nodded after a brief silence. They had to post a notice on the Beastars official account to report the news to the executives. It's likely that the news was spread among the group chats as well. Still, the scope is quite broad. Even if we narrow it down to those in the chat rooms, it's just that so many people come and go. And sometimes former employees still remain in some chat rooms. Group chat rooms. Staff members join their own group chat rooms. Sungyeon's death must have been shared via those chat rooms. That's great. That's another thing that you gave me, Seal, which means now I have to talk to everyone again about the group chat rooms. People tend to create a group chat room even for one-off meetings, right? Yeah, there are several chat rooms for posting notifications, making contacts, and just for making small talk. I used to be in all kinds of chat rooms, although I'm mod of all of them now. Even the chat room to talk about university life is still there. It must have been quiet. People seldom made comments. Maybe only a few did once in a while. Other than that, the chat rooms are virtually inactive. Jiyeon continued while tidying her hair. Still, not all of them leave the rooms though. I'll leave right away if I have no further business there. Yeah, some of them are like that. Everyone has a different style. I hate the fact that Seal is giving me so much stuff to talk with everyone about, and they're just giving me just random filler, but it's important, so. I'm sure the staff members have their own chat rooms. But I'm not sure how active the members are, since I have no access to them. They would never invite the contestants into their chat rooms. I don't know much about messages, but somebody talked about creating a chat room for contestants during our training. Creating group chats was a trendy thing at the time. Interesting. Really? I had no idea. Talked to several contestants, but things didn't work out. Really? Who did he talk to? It was Ina and probably Hyusung. No wonder why it didn't. Why did he choose those two out of all the nice people? Some contestants would be eliminated, so it would be awkward to be in the same space with them. The messenger app on the watch didn't have the function to invite a group. Maybe it's because of what you said. Nowadays, it's a basic but essential function. I'm pretty sure of it. It's like the show didn't want the contestants to bond. But we're bonding right now. We're the best of friends. Everyone loves each other. Everyone group hug. Right now. Right now. I'm not even surprised. Who would want to send out email to each and every staff member? The investigation on Sungyeon was requested by Beastars. We weren't able to contact the rescue team at the time. Later, the official account also posted a message to make an official announcement. If the information was released in the chat room before that, someone who was in the chat room or someone who has heard the news from someone who was in the chat room. It could be a Sungyeon. Is that what you're implying here? Ina began to mumble something while rubbing her cheek. The official account must have gone through a complete validation process. And Sungyeon could have taken the first blow during the process. Yep. Alright, Seal, back to talking to you about, like, everything. Stage conflicts. They certainly broadcast it that way. It was during episode 6. The edits were made to distort what actually happened. But it did happen though, right? And as far as I'm concerned, there had been conflicts before the mission. It wasn't even a conflict, and they quickly... Beastars in the show for just the two of them. The show must create rivalries in order to grab people's attention. Those who failed to create issues got eliminated before appearing on the show. Looking back now, can you say you were unhappy? The scene where they resolved their issues could be added later. The production crew must edit hundreds of hours of footage to try to lure more viewers. And to do that over dozens of episodes, they must present a good story. And to think of it, that's what Sung-yeon had said. We all know their efforts, but it doesn't change the fact that they over-exaggerated and distorted the context. I expect you to understand. The editing team gets to decide what they want to portray in each episode. Are you part of the editing too, Team Seal? That would be great. If that's the case, you're the best friend of everybody. I gotta grab in viewers. Edit terribly. Profile accident. I had mixed feelings, and it was also inevitable. As with every season, there was a lot of controversy regarding the finalists. I gave them a good excuse when the profiles got mixed up. Good excuse. People began to suspect that the entire show was being fabricated. They had to show some action to move on before the issue grew bigger. So they needed escape. An excuse to get rid of him. But that guy actually messed up with the profile data. That's a fact. Wasn't he supposed to receive confirmation during the process? He was supposed to, according to the process. But things are often skipped during crunch time. Having said that, Seal drooped his head. I never thought I'd be saying these things. I was speaking from Sung-yeon's point of view without even realizing it. I'd rather stop talking about this. You are S. Sung-yeon. You are S. Sung-yeon. If you aren't, I'm gonna be shocked and then I'm gonna cry. That happened often. Are you saying you guys check on all the staff members? We don't even have to. They tend to post it on their own. And their posts automatically become an issue. Well, there's no law prohibiting you from posting photos of your workplace. I'm sure they enjoy the attention at first, but it never ended happily. It was the worst after the profile accident happened. Even his private account was dragged out. It was right after the incident, wasn't it? Even a simple grumble was magnified to something very significant. I guess Gyuhook was right, so what happened in the end? He deleted his account and disappeared. Even after he got fired, he was on the verge of falling victim to doxing. Seal lowered his gaze after realizing the stunned look on Yoon's face. You didn't know? It's only natural. I'm sorry for not knowing enough. I had no idea. I feel terrible. I should have stood up for him. I'm sorry, Seal! Even if the contestants sided with him, it wouldn't have changed a thing. I kind of wondered if messing up the profiles could be grounds for termination, though. The rest of the staff was busy preparing for the main episodes, but then we had to do his work too. Some staff members complained about having to do more work. Even the staff members were divided on this issue. You can henpeck at the lazy person, but you can't do nothing about a moron. That's what Sung-yeon used to say. He had also made some other mistakes in the past. I understand he might have felt like it wasn't fair. But it was his fault that he didn't comply with the policy concerning personal accounts. Utter blame. The personal Fader account of the staff member responsible for the profile incident was revealed. The Fader mob didn't stop harassing him until he deleted his account. How wonderful! Amazing! Fantastic! Seal, I need to choose the other option while I'm scratching my nose because fucking allergies, man. Hey, Seal, how do you feel about personal account issues? I didn't know much about it till now. In my defense, there was no way of knowing. That's true. Even if you had sided with him, it wouldn't have changed anything. It was his fault that he didn't comply with the policy. Yeah. I'm just clicking just in case. Hey, we at least didn't get down, so that's good. Poor dude who got fired that no one cares about, but is probably the culprit too. Beloved fan. The new guy was young. He was in school when Beloved was active. Yeah, it must have been amazing for him to see Ju Young in person. Does any staff member come to mind? Seal frowned after a brief pause. Sorry! I can't remember every single one, especially the short-term contract workers. It wasn't even my role to manage them. But I think Ju Young might remember him. It's nothing I can say regarding that matter. Jesus, depresso espresso dude over here. He's not even angry, he's just depressed. Frickin' Seal's just annoying to talk to sometimes. Leaks. I think it's easier to find someone without any mistakes. Tons of mistakes are made for each episode. Most of the mistakes were somewhat similar. They just kept happening one after another. What was the accident that you just mentioned? Ji-young answered the staff's questions about Beloved's debut concept and word got out. With that, Seal wiped the tip of his nose with the back of his hand. Also, the official account manager's mistake was huge. There were so many accidents. Everyone suspected him of being a hardcore fan of Beloved. Later, it was proven true after his personal account was uncovered. Of course, the viewers who cheered for other contestants weren't happy about it. The Fader manager has no reason to visit the stage. I guess that's why he was overreacting. He crossed the line. He must be lucky, though, since he never got fired. Lopsided. The official account manager was suspected of being a big fan of Beloved. That suspicion was found out to be true later via his personal account. I also don't think that the other choice would have changed anything, because I think it just would have depressed. Let's talk about the official account manager. He did kind of show it. He shouldn't have crossed the line as the official account manager. I guess it was controversial. He must have received warnings several times. To work, he began to behave himself? No, he insisted that he had his own way of doing things. He insisted that Fader users enjoyed his style pretending to be a Beloved fan. Things got noisier and he finally began to refrain. I guess people don't really know when to stop. Just don't listen. People don't listen, ain't that a fact? People don't listen, and undergraduate staff. Most of them quit after a short period of time. But some must have remained, right? The homepage manager in the support department was still there. He said he might join the military after some time, though. There might be a couple left in the social media department. Well, that's all I can think of now. Only those in the support department remain then? Actually, all new recruits were assigned to the support department from the beginning. They were going to quit soon, so I only assigned them simple jobs that didn't require lots of training. Like for the homepage or social media, stuff that required lots of menial labor. Chores. New hires were given tasks such as managing the website or posting social media content. That's great. Awesome. Time to talk to everyone about chores now. Although I call it petty work, none of it actually is it's actually negligible. The show tried to assign excessive work to the inexperienced staff, and it caused problems. They used to have enough manpower. They should have thought everything through when they hired short-term workers. 3 or 4 staff members had to handle the work of 10 people. But when an accident happens, the lowest level employee has to take the fall. Same thing with the profile accident. Everyone knew what really went on. Well, it goes to show how the company treats its employees. Jen firmly nodded. Ever since, the number of applicants for open positions has dwindled. Who would want to be treated as a disposable worker? Welcome to most companies out there. Sorry, I gotta talk about that. Like, most companies, the people you work with care about you, and like majority of the managers care about you. Not all of them, but majority of the managers will care about you. But this is the key. Big but here. The company themselves, like the super higher ups, do not give a shit about you. You are disposable, no ifs, ands, or buts, and it sucks. I guess it was inevitable as if he came as a short-term contractor in the first place. Depending on the situation, odd jobs also require lots of menial work. Of course someone must take care of petty tasks, but they shouldn't treat people as disposable based on the magnitude of the work. Yuhuk nodded. Sung Yeon wasn't the type to assign work to someone and just entrust them with it. It's true, but wasn't it a bit different for Seal, though? Yuhuk tilted his head at the sudden remark. You're right, considering how she used to walk all over him. Actually, that was the problem. Right. I'm sure the staff members were unhappy with it. The fact that she walked over Seal constantly, but Seal also kind of like looks up there, so. They weren't just given petty jobs. Most of the tasks were quite intensive, either physically intensive or mentally demanding. Physical strength would have been required for handling the equipment. Mental strength would have been required to handle the viewers. Yoon tilted his head while listening to Ina. They both required expertise. I told you that's why we shouldn't call them petty jobs. Like they passed all the intensive tasks onto the part-timers. And when an accident occurred, they would just fire them or replace them. Because disposable workers, because that's how it works in a lot of jobs, and it sucks. Okay. Deserters. Remember very well when I don't. He seems to have created controversy when he quit the job. Did you hear that from Ji-young? He was close with some staff members. Let me think. Seal rubbed his chin with his hand. The guy who quit before the finals wasn't hired during the Super Week team mission. The youngest staff member who had been hired at the end of the preliminaries was fired. You know when and how he got fired. Right before the finals. It was right before the finals due to the profile accident. Yes, so you do remember. Of course, because it was a big issue even though it didn't last long. He got fired almost immediately. He did odd jobs around the show, such as managing the computers and devices and briefly managing the official Beastars account. What's the story with the staff member who quit his job? He didn't make any trouble when he quit. He worked as an assistant. He quit because he had to go back to school. That's all I can remember for now. Rookie period 1. The staff member was hired during the preliminaries and fired right before live broadcasting began due to the profile accident and managed data, devices, the official account. So it is the same person. Fucking knew it. fucking knew it, dude. New part-timer. Many of them wanted to work during vacation as a way of touring the broadcasting company. But I don't remember anyone in particular, though, other than the fact that they were all clumsy. It's fair. Was it that bad? Of course, they were all newbies. I couldn't expect them to be as efficient as other experienced members. They messed up their tasks unless I carefully taught them every single step. Some even quit without notice, later asking for their paychecks. These weren't rare occasions, and that's what happens when you make hurried hiring decisions. Very true. Very, very true. You'd be surprised how true that is. Fair usage. Even after complete training, bad things inevitably happen. Vader is so trendy. You have your account too? I do. Why are you asking? Am I suspected in any way? No, just asking out of curiosity. You don't even have a device. Exactly. I'm out of contact with everyone right now. I'm solely relying on you guys to know what's going on, which is extremely frustrating. Still clenched the strap of his messenger bag. You said Sang-Yeon could be one of the staff members, right? At the same time, you're asking me all these vague questions. You know, I'm the only staff member around here, right? I do. You're the only one I can ask about the details of the show. So don't be mad at me for asking questions. And you should filter out some of your questions so as not to disturb me. Dude is fucking angry now. Sorry, Seal. Also, we know that he has a device on him. We fucking know he has a device on him, that lying asshole. Group chat. Like I said, there were just too many of them. For sharing info, making friends, and keeping emergency contacts. More importantly, I have no way of accessing them right now. Right, you don't have a smart device. I'm sure they made an announcement through the messenger, though. I'm just not sure when and to which level. There are just too many of them. I'll only be able to figure it out after we get out of here. Liar! You're a liar, sir. You're a liar. We know you have a computer in your backpack. In a different timeline, we know. Chores. There are many odd jobs around the show. For example, moving the equipment or costumes. Updating Fader was also one of them. Are you talking about the official account? Yeah, that part also had many ups and downs. They were constantly changing who was in charge of managing it. They kept changing the manager? That's... So continued with his arms crossed. The first manager was replaced by the now ex-staff member for a bit. Former staff member, the one responsible for the profile accident? Yes, but he wasn't just in charge of that. He was working on many things at the same time. After the profile accident happened, the original manager returned. Come to think of it, he was also a strange person. What do you mean? He was somewhat similar to Hugh Sung. Too much into Fader, I guess? Too much into Fader, just like Hugh Sung? Yes, exactly. Since he was responsible for the official account, he had many Fader friends. He was just conveying the messages generated internally, but he made such a big deal out of it. So even if he made a small mistake, most users acted benevolently toward him. He was a Fader star, just like Hugh Sung. Although now people criticize him. People want speedy updates. Seal put on a riddling expression on his face. I guess it's all the more confusing now that Sang-Yeon isn't there to run things. Working period 2, the previous official account manager returned after the poor staffer who caused the profile accident got fired. So he came back. Nice. Alright, we're good. We're fine. Everything's good. Yeah, we should leave now. Woof! 21 keywords acquired, 2 profiles. My sanity improved slightly. Makes sense. Let's move on. He had finally compiled the list of the staff who could be Sang-Yeon. A former staff member who got fired after the profile accident, and the official Fader account manager. That's what we have left. If we accuse an innocent person, it could backfire. Just sent a message from Plughole. Yo man, it's time to end it all. You get the big picture now after talking with people? It's time to make a choice. Let me reconstruct the story. We'll start with a former staff member. Let's reconstruct the timeline of the former staff member. So the former staff member... Let's see. Let's see. So the guy who got... It's gotta be this, because that's the young staff member. this guy. I think this is right. I might be wrong. The former staff member came in right before the end of the regional preliminaries. And this kid got fired after the profile error had surfaced. It's safe to say he should probably be on our list of possible suspects. As the profile accident happened, his personal account was also revealed by others. Even after he got fired, he received a lot of blame. He leaked some info, including staff conversations, contestant conversations, personal impressions of the contestants. Boom, let's go! I'm done talking about the former staff member. How did he get to know the information on the contestants? It was a leak. The former staff member gathered gossip and spread it through a number of channels. He did odd jobs around the show, including some random tech stuff with computers and other devices. He was also temporarily put in charge of managing the official count. It's quite likely that he knew the watch's functions and the fader password. But the password was issued during the second round of the finals. He was fired long before that. Oh, I can explain that part. The person in charge of fader could have been given that info earlier. He was in charge of the official fader account until the first round of the finals. Since he was already fired, he wasn't involved in today's accident. If he's still on the staff contact list, it is possible that he might have heard the news about Sung-Yeon right away. Why would he still be on the list if he was fired? That's a good point, actually, and it's quite possible. The staff structure is a bit complicated, since it includes temps and contractors. You can't even properly search the list. Then why would he make an anonymous threats? That's probably because he got fired after the profile accident. Although there are some other points we should go over. As a keyword, young staff member, he often uploaded rumors using his personal account. He was criticized for causing the profile accident, and his personal info was leaked. He got fired before the finals. Let's talk about the official account manager next. So that's that. He was the official that. He was also complained. It was replacement and working period. It's everything but ill-intentioned. Like, that's easy. That's a piece of cake. Official account management duties changed hands several times. After trying a few different people out, the task was given back to the first account manager. This account manager, the first official account manager, made a crucial mistake. He shared a post that criticized Hyusung while logged into the official Beastars account. He deleted the post right away, but many people had already seen it. He explained that he used the official account by mistake instead of his own personal account. But some people didn't believe that it was a mistake, and they claimed they would find the true reason. Soon, one of them found out that the account manager was a fan of Beloved while checking out his personal account. He obsessed about his celebrity crush and neglected his duties as a staff member. Eventually, he was disciplined and replaced. He even complained to the contestants that he had been set up. I guess he had his reasons for making that complaint. Now I'll explain the episode regarding the official account manager. The account manager didn't work on site, so he wouldn't have been affected by this accident either. Right, he is writing posts even now. So he managed the fader account. There's a possibility that he's aware of our password. So how would he know all the personal info about the contestants? Sometimes that's shared with certain staff members. They need it so that they can come up with the character concept ideas for the show. Although I'm not sure what info is shared with whom exactly. It's also possible that the Beastars account manager heard about Sung-Yeon. We told the production crew about her death, so it could have been passed down quickly. Then what's he pissed off at? He used the official account to share a post that criticized Hyusung. He said it was a mistake, but eventually was punished for it after being severely blamed. People found his personal account, and as it turns out, he was a big fan of Jooyoung and a hater of Hyusung. I didn't even imagine. And he even came to us complaining of how unfairly he was punished. I guess he had his own reasons. Hyusung continued to get himself in trouble, so I guess he was trying to help the show. But in the end, he thought he was the only one who suffered. Official account manager. After his official mistake of sharing a bad post about Hyusung, people found out he was a fan of Jooyoung. He quit his job, but came back to work after his successor was fired. Considering three conditions: the motive for anonymous attacks, the position to access the contestant sequence of Sung-Yeon's death, and access to the watch's password info, the official account manager and former staff both satisfied all three conditions. We've come this far, but it's still difficult to draw a conclusion. Who could it be? We could try one of them and move on if we're wrong. The fallout from accusing the wrong person, though. Seal came forward while adjusting his glasses. I've been feeling uncertain about something. I'm okay with your guesswork, but you better not use your contestant account to accuse them. That'll create a problem for me, you know. Since I'm the only staff member here, I could be held responsible for your actions. Hey, but even if we choose the right one, you can simply deny it. What we need is hard evidence, not circumstantial evidence. If we don't have that, the whole thing ends here. Exactly. We agree that Sung-Yeon isn't someone in here with us, right? That we can just ignore whatever they say. They weren't wrong. Plug hole? There we go. Introduce the second ballot system or something? Why don't you answer me? You can explain how we narrowed down the pool of staff suspects and their stories. If Sangyeon is under a lot of pressure, we can take them out using circumstantial evidence. It doesn't seem to be the case, meaning we can't. But what should we do? We need stronger evidence other than circumstantial. Like what? I've accessed Hyusung's cloud before. Then it was logged in the IP access history. I saw the history, but there were not many logs. I guess Hyusung hardly visited the backup server. I found out another IP logged several times before me. Bypassed IP, visited from one of the African countries. So it's the user. Guess who? It's Sangyeon's IP. Does it have to do with choosing between the two? Of course, you bet your life on it. Cloud is connected from a PC. If there is a foreign IP logged, Sangyeon is using a PC to access Fader. Let's see if it's the official account, but I need your help. What help? Let's make a very interesting bait link related to you guys. If someone clicks it, their IP and device model will be logged. Then you'll send the same link to the official account. Why me? Because I can't. Sangyeon may ignore a link sent by an anonymous user, so it must be sent by you. If the link is accessed from the official account, the IP and device model will be logged. I'll check if the IP is the same as the one logged on the cloud server and if the device is PC. What if Sangyeon uses two PCs? One for the official account, the other for Sangyeon? Because that can happen. We know this. Look, buddy, let's suppose you're the official account manager and also using a Sangyeon account from another PC. You've clicked the link and seen the whole content. Then how likely is it for you to go to another PC to log in as Sangyeon and click the link again, or go to another PC to click the link sent to the official account? It's not impossible, but extremely unlikely. We've seen how this person is behaving, all their careless behavior. Let's sum it up. If the first visitor's IP is the same as the one in the cloud and the device is PC, the official account manager is Sangyeon, or the former staff member, either of the two. Does it have to be a link of the personal story? We could still lure him without such a thing. Take it or leave it. I'm 100% sure that a personal story is the best way to lure that one. We must make Sangyeon click that link. Just put up the title and write nothing. Don't be scared, man. If you don't like using others, why not use yours, Yoon? We don't have to really disclose anything. My finger hurts from typing too long. Then make up your mind and let me know so I can check it. Send it. The conversation ended with an unsolved question. At this point, there was no other way. He decided to go along with Plughole's advice. Let's go! Something that's attractive enough to click the link. A plausible story, not something unrealistic. Well, it's my own story, that's why. Should I lure him with my own story? I could tell him it's about how I came to join Beastars, for example. Yeah, it's obviously our own story because it's us. That's the only way to work it. I'd rather reveal my own information rather than others. That makes the most sense. I'm back with the link. Send this link to the official Beastars account manager with some appealing description. I wonder if this actually is a link that works. It's my turn now. Check this out. It's so chaotic. What is this? They threw the bait and waited. A few minutes later, Plughole's message arrived. Package has been delivered. Excuse me. Here's the identity of Sangyeon requested. You check the logs? Of course. Here's the result of the bait link. The identity of Sangyeon is... Da-da-da-da. We'll continue after that. Oh, come on. I'm serious here. Don't get serious. It doesn't help. Anyway, the identity of Sangyeon is... Say it. Who is it? Young staff member. Go fucking figure. The identity of Sangyeon, who had been harassing everyone, was the former staff member who got fired as a scapegoat. Different IP and device for the official account. A few minutes later, the IP from the cloud reappeared. The former staff member still seems to have access to the network. Beastars friends, security comes first. Ally. He helped a lot to reveal Sangyeon's identity. In a way, he seems like an ally. Anyway, now is the time to decide. Decide what? We will make Sangyeon unable to come back anymore. We can embarrass Sangyeon by revealing what we've collected so far. That's a life. The higher you soar up, the greater the damage when you fall. It wasn't easy for Yoon to send the answer. The former staff member who exploited the death of Sangyeon and mocked the survivors. Was it because he was so resentful at the show's success and the spotlights on the contestants? Was it that unfair? Was it that miserable? Nobody here remembered his name. He was not a noteworthy person. Damn! The former staff member, no one remembered much about him at all. Excuse me, are you there or what? You don't like a noisy brawl? You want to handle it quietly? Then we can just report who he is to the official account manager. You prefer that way? No, we're letting Plughole do it. That would be funny. Let's go. I'll leave it to you. Go ahead, Plughole. Fucking easy. Okay, let's beat the crap out of this loser. Let's just wait and watch the show. I'm sure a few sucker punches will soon turn into mob violence. Other people might have a different idea. You should persuade them. But, do you listen carefully. It's a big thing to take down as Sung Yeon. Your friends there will have more room to breathe for a while. But this is not the end. Probably due to a signal issue, no further messages came from him. Okay. Let's see. Check the timeline on the watch. As Sung Yeon, the most popular account in Fader, I'm sad to say that it was the new staff who got fired for messing up the B-Stars profile. Sniff. Already checked the IP, so don't worry about it. The two can't be living in Africa or something, right? Nervous, huh? Mail address and the first digit phone number matched exactly when I checked the recovery option. I understand it must be difficult and frustrating, but it's not like the contestants prayed for the profile error to occur. Isn't he almost certainly a Sung Yeon? Finally, the truth will show itself. You framed him as the informer of Hyusung's past life, and it didn't work. Now you are trying to frame him as an evil staff member? Haven't you seen my photo of the scene? I can't believe you're still suspecting me of that hypocrite. Rookie, I'll be waiting on the new photo full of metadata. Don't think it's going to work. Of course it's impossible. You want another piece of evidence? Fine, just hold there. You know the former staff member's personal account has been exposed? Now I think about it, Sung Yeon sounds pretty much like him. Yeah, it's weird for him to impersonate Sung Yeon out of everyone else. I checked the former staff member's fader and he spoke just like this guy. And you know what? The account was changed to a private mode just now. Didn't he make an excuse that the mixed up data was not his mistake? Only weirdos make such a basic mistake. Is it true that Sung Yeon is the next staff member who was fired? Is he causing all this trouble impersonating a dead person for his personal grudge? What a loser. Damn, we're going in with all the punches. Punch, 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 punch. Fuck him up. If survivors and bereaved families file a suit, his life is over. If Sung Yeon is really that guy, then he better kneel down and beg for mercy to everyone right now. Or does he have something up his sleeve, a secret card or something? Around the time of the profile issue, I heard from a friend of mine who knew that guy, and my friend said he was a wacko. A true, genuine wacko out of all his staff members. Dude, things are going crazy! Look, Sung Yeon's poster being erased. He's running away now. If he's deleting them all, then it's obvious who he is. Those who danced to Sung Yeon's tune, they should do something to make up their stupid mistake by writing an apology post or something. I don't expect much, though. Let's go! Take him down! What if Sung Yeon has disclosed so far were rumors he heard while working for B-Stars? As Sung Yeon is done, it tried to witch hunt survivors using public opinion only to face a backlash. Will take decisive action or in spreading false information about survivors or damaging the reputation of the deceased. I mean, here's the problem. Hyusung is still dead. I don't know why Hyusung's still dead, but he's dead, so we gotta figure that out. But at least we figured that out. Sung Yeon never came back. It served as proof that his identity was successfully revealed. Let's fucking go! Public opinion shifted suddenly. The timeline was flooded with posts criticizing and blaming Sung Yeon. Is it finally over? Sung Yeon, who had been harassing the group for so long, finally made his exit. His exit wasn't as pleasant or delightful as Junior had imagined it. Sung Yeon was found out to be the former staff member who had been held solely responsible as a scapegoat for the profile accident. The survivors exchanged flustered looks with one another. Sung Yeon, I mean, the former staff member is out of the picture now. The sad thing is that I can't even remember his name. I guess none of us does. Ju-young, who was holding the watch by her knee, raised her head. I can't believe the profile accident was the cause of this. We're not the ones who fired him, so why? The main actors of B-Stars are us, the contestants. His hatred probably grew toward us as we looked at merry and happy on screen. There was a heavy silence. The pressure they felt while the identity of Sung Yeon was hidden was no longer there. And the next question in the queue emerged in its place. A depressing question that would weigh upon them heavily. Who killed Hyusung? By the way, at the same time the question was inevitable. Then who murdered Hyusung? Holy crap! Holy crap, that is true. Well, that's what I said. That's what I was saying. Because now that we know who Sung Yeon is, that means one of us here murdered Hyusung. Somehow, one of us murdered Hyusung. Oh, Seal stretched out his hand to interrupt. Well, we'll never know. It wasn't Sung Yeon for sure, but gotta get real now. What up, Sage? Are we going back to square one? Do you really think Sung has nothing to do with the incidents in here? I think he just got lucky with his guesses. And I guess the attacker is hiding here somewhere, right? I don't know, we've already searched the whole area. I want to believe that there's someone hiding somewhere that we haven't discovered yet. If that's not the case, only one possibility remains. It must be one of us. Doubts. Wow, it's almost 4 in the morning. Jesus. The beads of sweat on Doone's neck suddenly turn cold. No way, it's gotta be someone else. One thing is for sure. As long as we stick together, we are safe. There are 5 of us. Ina's gaze lingered among the rest of the group. There was an awkward silence. That's right. By the way, I have a question. Ina slowly turned around to face Gyuhuk. When you went to the dressing room to meet Hyusung, you came back here right after meeting him. Was he okay until then? Huh? I'm just curious, I didn't even get to see him. Came back right after. You know what happened after that. No one here has a reason to hurt Hyusung. There has to be a reason. Somebody could have gone crazy for a moment in such a stressful situation. Hyusung argued with Sungyeon even after Gyuhuk had come back. That's true. Gyuhuk slightly loosened the knot of his tie. You know, you were the one who insisted on going when everyone tried to stop you. Somebody could have lost her sanity as well. Oh shit! They're gonna fight each other! Her? You mean me? I went there because I didn't know what trash he was gonna post on Fader. We couldn't just sit around and do nothing when he was about to make an announcement about God knows what. Jiyun felt like throwing up and my head was spinning. He tried to ease the group's anxiety by removing Sungyeon from the picture. Once Sungyeon was gone, we began to suspect one another. About the Fader announcement that you mentioned, now we'll never know what it was about. The only thing we know is that Hyusung called us one by one to persuade us to drop out of the competition. Wait, who first told us about that? That he made a threat when talking about forcing us out of the audition. We didn't hear it from him directly. We heard it from someone else. Yeah, no, it's me. It's easily me. It was me. I was the first to see him. I told you what we talked about after coming back. Dude, you don't need to explain yourself. Yeah, it was you. Next was Gyuhuk, and you both said the same thing. You guys didn't make up your stories, right? Are you kidding? Ina, that's enough. I'm just trying to think. I think Ina suffers from memory loss. I'm gonna be honest though, but anyway. Jung intervened, raising her hands. It won't hurt to talk about it. It would be better than trembling in fear all alone. But let's not go too deep. We have to wait a few more hours in here. If we hurt each other's feelings and someone leaves, that's not what I had in mind. And Sungyeon was the most suspicious and he just departed. Naturally, we all thinking a lot right now. Right, I am too. Jung put one hand on the top of her head and slowly took a deep breath. I considered lots of possibilities when we found Hyusung. Time, Sungyeon was apparently our public enemy as well as the prime suspect. But he's gone now, right? Ina lowered her gaze and nodded. How about this? We could go a little deeper like the last time. About what? Gyuhuk continued after a brief pause. Our whereabouts after Hyusung left the stage. Again? Do you think it's necessary? Should I go over it again or what? Everyone seemed to hesitate at Gyuhuk's remark. Yeah, it'd be wise to clear all suspicions. Yeah, we need to set things straight. Let's do it. We have a different premise now, so we should go over it again. It's better than blindly firing at one another. What about the rest of you guys? I'm not against it if everyone's okay. Can't back off now. Fine, let's do it. We want a survival, not investigation. Let's not forget that. Yeah, I'll raise everyone's frickin' stats later. None of them really disagreed with going over their whereabouts again. Let's go over it again. It might help us ease the tension. It seemed like there was an implicit agreement. Is everyone happy with the elimination of the rat? The attacker might be among us. I have thought so. I saved you guys out of trouble and now you're fighting among yourselves. I hope there's no brawl going on. You want me to stop them aggressively? If you overreact, you'll become the focus of the group, Dooyoon. You'd better point out anything suspicious. Tension is to be avoided, but a mild degree of stress can be helpful to overcome the situation. No, thank you. Dooyoon closed messenger. It was a reasonable idea. Rather than letting all the suspicions explode later, it'd be better to clear them now. So they decided to have another talk. But he couldn't help but feel the sense of defiance toward Plughole's casual tone of speech. Oh my gosh. Came to stop for a bit. I was like, what the hell? What? I thought we're working on it together. Please don't sulk. I'm begging you. I don't like your tone. Aye, aye, sir. Your tone. Okay. Dude lowered the watch and listened to what the others had to say. There was some progress to the story. So we're leaving Sung-yeon or anyone out of this, right? Whatever it is, the fact that we found him at 2 a.m. in the restroom doesn't change. No sign of him being moved. He was attacked right there. The possible time period would be 20 minutes to 2 a.m. Do you shoot over the time period again? What? 1:40 a.m. That's when Hyo-sung stopped writing posts on Facebook. From 1:40 a.m. to 1:40 to 2 o'clock a.m. Those who were able to go to the restroom were. God, we gotta remember this. It's been like 2 weeks. Ina, Seal, Ju-young. Ina went to the dressing room after reading Hyo-sung's fader post at around 1:40 a.m. She asserted that no one follows her. She said she waited in the central corridor until the tremor, but nobody saw that. Ina questioned. Ina waited in front of the dressing room until the tremor came, but nobody saw what she was really doing during that time. Seal went to the central corridor once the tremor had passed. He said he was in the empty dressing room and later came out to the central corridor to meet Ina. He was alone until he met Ina again after checking the dressing room. Seal questioned. Seal said he went to the dressing room directly and waited in the empty room for a while. Could he have done anything strange before he met Ina in the corridor? Ju-young disappeared for a while after 1:40 a.m., but she came back soon and Seal and Ina met her on the stage. It means she had no time to go to the restroom. What? Can't be dude. I guess Ina's trace times 2? Like, it's either Ina or Seal. She said she went to the staff corridor after finding out that the dressing room was empty. She met Seal after coming back to the central corridor and they came to the stage together. She's the only one that knows what she did up to the point that she met Seal. Here's a return. Ina said that she left the dressing room and headed to the staff corridor. Then she got back to the stage after meeting with Seal. What was she doing before she met Seal then? And then we know. So it's either Ina or Seal. Holy crap. Okay. Ina and Seal. They were able to go to the restroom during 20-minute period. Time slot matching. Ina, who refused accompaniment and left, and Seal, who followed her shortly after the tremor, were the ones who were able to commit the crime during that period. Also, they didn't encounter each other until they met at the central corridor. The only way to prove your whereabouts is through your accounts. At the time, both Gi-huk and Ju-yoon were on the stage. Ju-young was gone for a while, but it was impossible for her to go to the central corridor. Hey, so that's what you're saying after all? Ju-yoon raised his head at Seal's echoing voice on the other side. Now you're trying to frame me, aren't you? What's the matter? You're saying Seal and I are the only ones who could attack Hyo-sung during that time period. If that's true, why would I even bring it up first? Am I the only one that was hard on Hyo-sung? Nemesis. Although Seal was a production staff member, he openly showed hostility towards Hyo-sung. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just making a remark based on the premise that there is no one else here other than us. It's not like we could have coordinated our story. It's gotta be one of us. It's simply a 50-50 chance, for God's sake. We're just dealing with possibilities, nothing more than that. I find this conversation very irritating, nothing more than that. As the saying goes, a tall tree catches much wind. What's that? It's ridiculous. Think I'm the murderer? Ina ran her hands through her hair, mussing it up. Did you patch up everything? I'm a bit worried. Getting carried away could be risky. It could be better if you dig into it further. It could be true. If they went over every little detail, they might find a decisive clue. If the real attacker comes out, that'll be another problem. What do you want me to do? What do you say? No answer, you must be in trouble. Stay calm. We've handled troubles pretty good so far, right? I'm looking forward to the safe return, Mr. Han. Entry. He said he's waiting for Ju-yoon to come back safely and that he should continue to keep his cool. It was Ju-yoon who had to make the choice. Ina and Seal, right? Let me hear your story again. If we go over the details, we might not have to fuss over this anymore. So you're going to question me for the second time? That was not a good idea. Saying it was the staff again? The two jumped out of their skins, but they had no choice. It seemed that nobody wanted this to continue. Okay, here I go. Considered it? I hate being treated like a criminal. Rena says it's okay. I'm not going to interrogate you. I know, but I don't like how you're emphasizing it. Take your time. The two of them began to talk with grim looks on their faces. There we go. We are here. Damn. We are. Now we have to figure out which one of these two is the killer, because that is pretty much what's going on right now. One of them is the killer. The question is, who is it? And I really wish I could play more right now. I want y'all to know right now, I really, really wish that I could play more. If you're wondering why I can't, it is purely because I have to go to work. Good old work! Always getting in the way. Always getting in the way. It sucks, but that's just how it goes. We're 55.20% though, so we're about halfway. So, let me tell you guys what we have going on, because today is a weird day and I don't have my freaking thing. Catch you later, Sage. Hold on, let me get my freaking calendar. Because I want to let you guys know. Because we're gonna be playing Buried Stars a lot, hopefully, and try to get this taken care of. So, got my calendar here. So Buried Stars is gonna be played on both Saturday and Sunday. Now I want to let you guys know that work-wise, because I gotta just double check my schedule, Saturday will be a long stream. Okay, so Saturday will absolutely be a very long stream of Buried Stars. Like, we're gonna start with Genshin more than likely, or like we're gonna start with VODs and such, but I'll have time to get a whole bunch of stuff done because of work. Sunday is going to be another short one though, and that's just the unfortunate fact of it, is it's just going to be pretty short, similar to this one. After that, I'm going to try to fit in Buried Stars after which, but since there's some important stuff coming up, streams are going to kind of be a little bit crazy from that point forward, but I'm going to try to give you guys some long streams of this game so we can get through it. I just want you guys to know. As for rest of today, I just have to go to work, so, and I'm not going to be streaming tonight because I literally have to get back from work tonight and then immediately get ready for work, or like go to sleep and then wake up the next day to work in the morning. So that's just unfortunately how it goes. So with that, I thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed Buried Stars today. We're getting to some interesting, spicy stuff, that's for sure. So with that, have a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, and or evening. Of course, my name's Katathi. I'll see you guys next time for some more video gaming. See you guys later. Peace. Bye, everybody.